Oh, right when the song ended. Good morning, everybody. How is everyone? How is everybody? Hope you had a great weekend and a great start into the week. Sorry for no stream yesterday, but it was not possible. I had too much to do, but here we are. Here we are. Hi, Josh. This weekend, my copium was big enough to let me make top 32 at Italian NAS with Dragon Link. Unfortunately, I bricked my game 2 and game 3 of top 32. Keep going with your amazing content. Hey, congratulations. Well done. Dragon Link in the old format. That was not an easy task. Good job. Genosaur, thank you for the 13 months. That's a very long time. Over a year. I appreciate that. Thank you. Also, I brought back the perfect information sub sound. I hope you like it. I got a little tired of hearing Trump's voice every time, so we're back to perfect information, gamers. Got top 4 at Slovenian Nationals. Congratulations. Well done. All right, chat. We have quite a few things to do. Voldemort, thank you for 17 months, dude. I didn't realize it was that long. Every month, I'm surprised by how long it's been. Thank you. One more to go for Toad. Oh, true, right. 18 months is Toad. Yeah. Easy club. Looking forward to you testing Vanquish Soul. They look good with Bestial's current format. We'll talk about Vanquish Soul a little bit. I'm not sure how much of it is actually the deck being good, and rather just like it might also just be kind of a you can almost play anything this format that's like semi decent. I'm not sure, but we'll see. Did you see the torrential tribute at Italian Nationals? Are you referring to the flooding? We'll talk about that in a little bit. I've seen it. Yeah, I've seen it. One thing right off the bat, before we even do the warm-up, I have a little consolidation for not streaming yesterday, because I think, and it's not a 100%, but I think I'm going to be able to stream this Sunday for the day 2 of the French National stream. We can like watch it together. I think I have time. I'm pretty sure we can do that. If they have a stream, which I'm assuming they do. I'm assuming they will have a stream with French commentary, so I'm planning to do the Sunday. I won't be able to do Saturday, but I should be able to do Sunday. Sadly, won't be able to catch all stream. I have to go in 25 minutes. Oh, okay. Well, see you tomorrow then, Nilmi. France will be pretty interesting. That's what I'm thinking too. That's also why I didn't really feel like streaming Italy. Because as big of a nationals as it was, as big of a nationals as Italian nationals was, they were using the old ban list, which is also why we're not going to talk about it for too long today. Like, we're going to look at the results, but I mean, it's old ban list, right? It's old format. Like, it's not super interesting. I plan on checking out like some of the Vanquish Soul games that they had on stream, and maybe the deck list, but that's pretty much about it. How many players were in Italian Nationals? I don't actually know. If anyone in chat attended Italian Nationals, let me know how many players you had, because I don't actually know. 1,630 is the number that is going around in chat. 1,632, 1,600, around 1,600 seems like, which is fairly big. Is that that seems like a big number for Italian Nationals. I mean, I didn't expect them to be small, but 1,600 is pretty good. Have you bought Vanquish Soul cards already? Not a single one. Not a single one. Like I said, we're gonna have a box opening today of this beauty over here. I have one box here. We're gonna open that one up later. But I'm still not sure whether I think it's gonna be a top tier deck or not. So I'm currently not. Well, we can look at the prices later too. I have that open in a tab already. We can talk about the prices of the deck. Currently, I don't plan on using it. Maybe I'm gonna change my mind, but currently I don't plan on buying the cards. But yeah, I don't know. I think it might be more of a like yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure if it's actually gonna hold its place in the metagame, or if it was rather just like, you know, someone playing the deck because they like it and doing well. But we'll see. Irate Nia and Lenny T. Jerry, thank you guys for the subs. Welcome back. Appreciate the support. Very much appreciate it. When we get to opening, I'll make a prediction. Yeah. Our prediction will be, as we discussed back then, the prediction will be whether we pull 3 Vanquish Soul Ultras. Well, no, don't worry. I didn't forget that was going to be our prediction. Don't worry. It's going to be glorious. Is it possible you make a chess stream after Euros? I don't really play that much chess. Like, I know how to play, but I don't know why I would stream it. EP Scarm, thank you for the 9 months. Any list ideas for Assault Synchron? Assault Synchron is something that I'm definitely getting to. Wait, hold on. Assault, I know it's not legal for German nationals, but is it legal for Euros? Do we have Assault Synchron for Euros? Yes. Ooh, that's cool. Yeah, we're gonna experiment with that. I mean, honestly, as far as ideas go with Assault Synchron, it's pretty much, there's only really 2 things that I'm aware of that you can do with it, which is like, you can play a Bestial Synchro deck and you can pair it with Sprite. That's like the 2 things you can do. I don't know if there's anything else you can really do. That would be good enough. I don't know. How are you enjoying Tears of the Kingdom? I'm enjoying it so much. It's just the fact that, like, there's one thing about it, which is not even a bad thing, but it's just like games like that just tend to have that effect on you that you just have to spend way too much time on it. It's a good time you're having, but they just take so much time out of your day. So I'm trying to balance that these last couple of weeks, but you know, some days it's been hard. But I think it's been great. Yeah, I don't think I have quite as many hours in it yet, but I probably will, yeah. Just be honest, you didn't stream yesterday because you were playing Tears of the Kingdom? Dude, I wish that was the case, but I almost didn't play at all yesterday. I wish that was the case. Anyways, chat. You guys know I hate having an unopened box on my table. So, but I do want to make the warm-up happen first. So let's do the warm-up and so I can get to open this box. Let's guess some cards, shall we? Is that Quasar? It is Quasar. We got here. Oh, that's the Mystic Mine, dude. Karud. Oh, Plunder. Patrol ship. Merc? Ha! I got a plunder ship on my own. It's a special day for me. It's a special day for me. I think that's a first. That's what playing plunder does to a man. The hell is that? Train connection. That makes sense. That's what it looks like. Tuning, right? Tuning. Oh, that's a lot of card name tuning. Okay, tuning. This might just be Red Eyes Wyvern. Yeah. Nice. Good start. This is a Sky Scourge, I think. The weird one. Yeah. And by weird one, I mean not one of the first 3. Because I think that one was printed later. Oh, wait, no, that's a hero, right? Is it not? Oh, yeah. Poisoner. I'm getting Despian vibes. Is that Adlib? It is Adlib. Okay. It do be adlib. Oh, this is Voltanis. Yeah. Easy clap. I want to say it's not Darius, but maybe it is. Oh, okay, it is. I thought it was one of the spell traps that he's on. That is Light Ray Medor, Glacier Medor. Oh, come on. Neo? Really? It's Neo. Okay. Yeah. Give me a number, chat. Give me a number. 002. It is 002. Well done. Which one was the one that you played with Oradon? Which desk squad was that? 001. Okay. Is it just red gadgets? I never know with gadgets. I'm always suspicious. Okay. I do not know this one. At Lafayette, thank you for the 8 months. Appreciate you. Welcome back. Oh, it's a danger card. That is a link monster. It's a link too. I've played it before. Why have I played it? I forgot what it's called. Defender of the Labyrinth. Okay. It's a link monster, right? Oh god, I know this one. It's like Spirit. Is it Spirit Barrier? It is Spirit Barrier. That's just Gradius, I think. Yeah. Illumination and Khal Drogo, thank you for the subs. I'll read your message in a second. Hold up. Xing Zhen Hu. I've seen this one, but I don't know what it's called. Super Soldier Rebirth. This is another one of those, like Night and Day, Night Express. Yeah. Kid Moto, right? I played this in Dragon Rulers back in the day. For like one event, and this is Marshmallow Glasses. Right? I think this is a Gem Knight. Is it this? Oh, it is that. Oh my god. Today is a special day. No. I know what it's called. Soldier Dragons. I thought it was Legion Dragons for some reason. Spectre Phantom, thank you for the 6 months. Welcome back. This is a... What are these called? Is it a Crystron? The problem is there's a bunch. P? Easy clap. Is it monster assortment? Okay. Shinobird. Oh. Is it Skull Invitation? No. Fortune telling? What was that? Okay, well done. That was a tough one. This is not Mass Change. It's the one that adds back Mass Change from the graveyard. Mask Charge. That's an old psychic monster. It's like Dr. Brain or something. Dr. Cranium. Same thing. This one I don't know. I don't think. Maybe I do? No. Oh, Meow's Click. I've heard that before. Okay, what is that? Naturi? It's a spider, right? Okay. Easy clap. Mario Kutai. Easy clap. He's the fusion material on some iconic fusion. What is it? Last Warrior? Right? It's the fusion material of Last Warrior from another planet, right? It's like it's this and what? Zombira the Dark? What's the other one? Bonus question. It's Zombira, right? Yeah, okay. Scopen? No? Really? Oh, Lantron. Oh, that's Big Eye. Is that Reza? No. Is that it's not is it Reza? Mega Monarch? No. What is that? Oh, the Vassal. Oh, that's why it looked so familiar. Painful Escape. Yamiyuzi, thank you for the 8 months. Welcome back. Oh, it's Blast something. Right? Blast what? Blast. No. Juggler. Yeah, nice. Oh. Oh. Is appliancers, are those machines or cybers? That it'll depend on that whether I like that archetype or not. Machine? Okay, I accept them then. This is a Nephthys. Easy. I guess that. This is, I think, Toon Barrel Dragon. Yes. Heart of the Underdog. You're not a real duelist if you haven't tried to build a Heart of the Underdog deck once when you were a child. We've all been there. We've all thought at some point that friggin' Exodia with that was busted, but it wasn't. Oh! Bonus points for everyone who knows why I know that card. I think this is a Gizmek. It is. An Evo card. No, Gora. Ah, I knew that. Shiranui. Shiranui. Chat, which one? Which one is that? Samsara. No. Sun Saga. No. Aww. We're skipping. Lame. Style. Oh, it was Samsara. Monarch TCG. Thank you for the 6 months. Gen X. Oh, God. It's our Gen X, I think. Thermal. Oh, Thermal Gen X. Thermal Gen X. Yeah, that, I think that's what it is. Yeah. Okay. Nice. The little psychic girl. Oh, what is it called? Esper. It's not Is it Esper Girl? I think it might be Esper Girl. Yeah. Who the hell? Dragoonity. Ah. This is a insect. Something desert, right? Protector. Nice. This is called XYZ something. I don't reflect. Easy clap. I just clicked the first one. Sometimes that works. Sometimes that works. Mr. Gibba, thank you for the 9 months. Appreciate that. Come on, we can do 800 easy. Delta Flyer. That's a Delta Flyer if I've ever seen one. Hell yeah. It's some dark magician shit. I don't know what it is. Magician of Dark Illusion. Where are you? Noble Knight. Nosp. Oh no, I mistyped. Nosp. Right? No? Poison Rose? Ah. That's the one. We have here Bujin Centipede, right? Centipede. Yep. Alright, there we are. 800. Can we do 900? It's something rebirth, right? This? Ooh, why did I know that? Why did I know that? That's a Glad Beast. Oh, nah, that's a Glad Beast. This guy, yeah. Puzzleworth, thank you for the 8 months. We'll come back. This is like Dragon in the Cave something. This thing. Hell yeah. Dragon dwelling in the cave. This one I have seen. Is it Paradise Smasher? Yeah. Something is different today. We're doing very well. Jama King. Come on, 900. 20 seconds. 20 seconds. Easy 900. Easy 900. No, it's not that one. Trachodon. 925. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. He's really good around. That's pretty good. That's not 1,000, but 925 is pretty strong. That's pretty solid. Mork at 1994. Thank you for the 2 months. Appreciate you. Welcome back to the second month. Glad you're coming back to support the channel. All right, let me quickly read that one large message before we move on. I take back what I said last month about not wanting a ban list. It was awesome. I hope this format will be at least a little more reasonable. Also, congrats on making it to Worlds. It was insane, right? Oh, thank you for that. And also, I think the ban list was pretty spot on this time around. You know? I love playing Yu-Gi-Oh, but then getting back to reality where you have 2 projects due Friday is pain. Have you ever tried making Yu-Gi-Oh your job? Know what I mean? Just like, do that. Just do that. I wished it hit Runic, and why would you say that? Why would you say that? Scrub, why would you say such a thing? Also, it did hit Runic. They hit... Chat, don't let anyone fool you. They hit Runic and they hit Sprite. They hit Runic and they hit Sprite. So I don't want any complaints. Carmani Soul, thank you for the 7 months. Appreciate that. Thank you for your prime. All right. We're looking for a dark effect monster with hella stats. Relatively new. What could that be? Gizmek. Gizmek is a good idea. Because machines are also everywhere. It's not a machine. All right, chat. The year is between 2016 and 2018. 2016 and 2018. So y'all can stop saying whatever you're saying right now. It is just an effect monster. Just an effect monster. No link, no synchro, nothing. And it's between level 5 and 7. Nessie? Oh, Nessie is a good guess, I think. Ooh, Nessie was a good... No, the defense was too high. The defense was too high, so it couldn't be Nessie. But it is a level 7. A level 7... Thunder Dragon Duo, maybe? No, it's not 2018. It's 2017 or 16. Oh, what happened in 2017 and 16? Cosmo? Ooh, Cosmo. What's the level 7 Cosmo? Forerunner, but that's not a dark. Cosmo... Is there another level 7 Cosmo? I think it's just Forerunner. Yeah. Master Plan? I think Master Plan has too much defense for this. Yeah, Master Plan is 2800 defense. It can't be Master Plan. Ooh, Phantasme. How could I forget my favorite card? It's not Phantasme though, because it says 2014-50 up. Kaiju? Ooh, a little Radion? Radion action? Could it be? No, it can't be. Astrograph. It's not a pendulum. It's 2016, chat. Oh, this is a tough one. What is it? Level 7 Dark from 2016. Effect monster. The hell is that? Overtex? Ooh. No, quote. That's not that old. It's 2018. Dragon Ruler? Oh, sweet summer child. You think Dragon Rulers are from 2016? Performer Pal level 7. Is there a Performer Pal level 7 that is not a pendulum, though? There's too many Performer Pals. I'm never going to find that. The Dark Dragon Ruler. Chat, do you think at some point they do that? Do you think at some point they just give us Light and Dark Dragon Ruler? Just like they did with the Charmers? Like originally there was only Fire, Water, Wind, and thingy. And then eventually they just give us the Dark Dragon Ruler. Dude, imagine. Imagine. Black Dragon Ninja? Black Dragon Ninja. Oh, hell yeah. I remember that card. Well done. That card, that was my favorite Duel Links deck. If there was ever a format where I really enjoyed Duel Links, it was the Ninja format. That was sick. I liked that so much. If anyone here remembers playing Duel Links in that time frame. That was a cool deck. I somehow got this one in 3. In 3 is impressive. That one's not... I don't know if I myself get this at any point. But I remember this card. That was like sick. That was a sick period of Duel Links. All right. All right. The warm-up out of the way. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the stream. We have a couple things to do, but you guys know what we do first. You guys know what we do first because you guys know I hate having unopened booster packs on my table. We have a Wild Survivors booster box sponsored by my buddies over at SmartGuard. Huge shout out to SmartGuard for always sponsoring one box of the newest set. And the same thing happens with Wild Survivors. So we're going to open up one box of Wild Survivors. This time around, I'm also going to be giving away some of the stuff depending on what I pull. Because the only archetype I'm currently interested in is Vanquish Soul at all. If I pull any ultra rares that are not Vanquish Souls, you can have them. So we'll do that. Easy. And then I will start a prediction on... Do we pull only Vanquish Soul Ultras. Yes. No. I'll give you a minute to predict, and then we start opening. In the meantime, one thing we can do very quickly is just have a look at what you want to pull out of this set, because I actually don't know yet. What are like the chase cards in the set? Because one thing that I find kind of interesting is that when you sort by popularity on market, if you sort by popularity on cart market, like there's almost no ultra rare that shows up on the first page even. Like the most popular ultra rare is Ground Xeno, which is understandable, I think, but that card is a lot of money, and I'm telling you, if we pull that, I'm also giving that away. I don't need it. If we pull Ground Xeno, huge win for the chat. That thing is $40, dude. Holy shit. If we pull that, you win big. If we pull that, you win big. Where the hell are the Vanquish Soul cards? You know, that's the thing with the Vanquish Souls, is, I've said this before, I think the archetype is cool, and I think it is solid as well, but I don't think it's the best deck, and I don't think it's like warranted to spend this much money on that many ultras for a, in my book, tier 2 deck, you know? And that's why I think Ground Xeno is more popular. Anyways, the Gamba should be over. We can get to opening. We'll see. You're expecting from a box of these collector rare side sets, whatever, you're expecting to pull 3 ultras, I think. So we'll see. And then maybe you get a collector's rare. I got the whole core for around 250 with shipping. I haven't had this much fun with the deck since 2018 Moonlight. See, that's the thing. That's good, but like, dude, 250 for the core of a tier 2 deck is still a lot of money, right? You get tier 1 decks for that money. Like, if the deck is fun, and you enjoy it, then by all means go for it. But you have to understand, 250 is still a lot of money for a tier 2 Yu-Gi-Oh deck, I think. Right? Even Kashtira is less. Maybe Kashtira is even less. Luller and Chris, thank you for the subs. Also, Joel High and Sneaky Steve, thank you for the resubs. Appreciate that. Welcome back. Hey Josh, I can't afford runic cards. What's the best way to play Melfi's Sprite right now? I mean, isn't it just you play all the sprites, all the Melfis, and you mix it with non-engine? Isn't that what it does? Did you change the sub reload? Yeah, I got tired of hearing Trump's voice every time. As funny as it was, eventually I feel like, you know, it was it had to be done. All right, also we hit a sub goal. Appreciate that, very early on into the stream. So we're gonna, I don't actually, does it work in this overlay? Y'all hear that? Hell yeah, it does. Okay, some Pepe D's for good luck. Okay, Hyper Artonus, thank you for the 6 months. Appreciate you. All right. I'll wait for the Pepe D to finish and then we start cracking some packs. Vanquish Core yesterday at 600 euros. Today it's 420. The thing is, of course, I think those cards have to go down because I don't think people are willing to pay that much for the core. I simply think people are not willing to pay that much for the core. Plunder Forever, thank you for the prime. I don't agree with your name. Also, please don't clip that out of context, but thank you for the prime. Appreciate that. All right, chat, let me restart the music. And then we open some nice, maybe even a collector's rare. What is the, we've pulled a collector's rare once. Okay, hold up. Let me make sure you see what we pull. All right. So we got Lost World. We got an enemy controller. Still like freaking crime that this thing did not get a collector's rare treatment. Hamburger recipe, a Volsar Zolda, Manju, and a Novel. What's it called? Super rare. I thought all of the novels had the English thing in brackets behind it. Why not? I thought they all had the translation behind it. Only the spells. Oh, okay. I don't know where that makes sense, but okay. We got double evolution pill. Incantation. I think incantations are good reprints. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like incantations, some of them were getting somewhat expensive for some reason. Tanky, Giant Rex, Super Soaring, and there it is. We have the fish recipe. And they have the translation in the name. All right, Frostosaurus, another incantation. What was that? Oh, another recipe. Pre-prep, that card also wasn't super cheap. Lithosagium and the new Dinosaur XYZ. And we got the first Vanquish Soul. And I think is that the only Vanquish Soul super rare? No, the spells and traps also have some super rares. I think it's the only super rare Vanquish Soul monster, right? It's the only Vanquish Soul super rare monster. There we go. Hey. All right, Solda, Ovi, Fossil Dig, Incantation Bookstone, Baby Ceratosaurus, Allure, and another Novel super rare. Broken Boy, thank you for the 5 months. Appreciate you. All right, Tyranno in rare. Honestly, I'm always excited for these sets specifically because you guys know rare is my favorite rarity. So I always like getting some reprints in rare. In case I ever use them. Ooh, we got a good first ultra rare. One of the best Vanquish Soul cards. That's a very pog one. The Raisin. I think that's the second most expensive Vanquish Soul ultra. Because I think only the Link monster I think is better. Very happy with that. Very happy with that. Stake Your Soul too? Okay, maybe Stake Your Soul is even better, yeah. Alright, we got another enemy. Another of the XYZ. Petit Pteranodon. Eradicator, Troll Despair. Incantation, Nouvelle, and Vanquish Soul, Dust Devil. This is the one that target the Vanquish Soul you control, changes battle position, then you can change face-up monster your opponent controls to face-down defense position up to the number of Vanquish Soul monsters you control with different names. So the multi-book. Which is honestly a pretty good disruption in 2023. Booking monsters is pretty painful for some decks. Preparation, Frostosaurus, and a Hungry Burger. Not the collector's rare, but still. What is the situation on Hungry Burger, by the way? Is the collector's rare just worth nothing, or are people actually buying into the meme and think it's hilarious that got a collector's rare? Because I wasn't sure how it's gonna go. I wasn't sure how it was gonna go, whether people would just like, it's just around 30. Okay, yeah. I mean, I didn't expect it to be very sought after. Because it's funny, but it's really not useful. Deck Dev, another recipe, and another Novel. All the 3 Novels we've pulled so far are different ones. Whatever that means. Alright. The new Synchro. There can be only one. Troll Despair. Tanky. Misk. Candle. And the new Dinosaur Super Rare. One of the new Dinosaur Super Rares. As many people are, I think many people are not happy with this set because they wanted to play Vanquish Soul. I think some people are happy with the set. Specifically, Dino enjoyers must be very happy because, like, only one ultra rare, which is, I mean, you couldn't expect to not get a single ultra rare, but like you get like all the shit is rare or super rare, super cheap. You get nice reprints, and you get some collector's rare if you want. So, you know, pretty happy. Dinosaur enjoyers have to be pretty happy. It's the most expensive you are, but honestly, that's because the demand for it is so high, because a lot of people like Dino decks. All right, we got another Ovi, another Allure, Super Soaring, Conductor, Manju, this thingy, and another Dust Devil. Another Fossil Dig, another Misk, another Incantation, Baby Cerosaurus, Candle, Solda, and another Xeno. All right, half of the box is done. We only pulled one Ultra so far, so we still got 2 more to go. Synchro, second Tikaboo, Tenki. There's no rare in here that's like expected to be money, right? That's a collector's rare. That's a collector's rare. It's probably one of the worst collector's rares, to be honest. But it is a collector's rare. Now I know, okay, I have 2 things right now. I said if we pull any ultra rares that aren't Vanquish Souls, I'll give them away. Technically, that isn't an ultra rare, but honestly, we can still, I think we can still give that one away because I don't need it. So I think y'all can still have it. The other question I have is, does that count for the Gamba? How did I phrase the Gamba? Let me look at the PSCT. Do we pull only Vanquish Soul ultra rares? Yeah, that doesn't count then. Okay, the Gamba is still alive. Yeah, by the PSCT of my Gamba. This is not an ultra rare. That does not count, unfortunately. That is not a non-virtual Vanquish Soul ultra rare. It isn't. It isn't. How does it count, dude? Read the PSCT. Read the PSCT. Anyways. I'm happy we got a collector's rare, though. We've gotten lucky with these smart card boxes. Like, I think we've gotten 3 collector's rare sets so far. And out of 2 of them, we've pulled collectors. We've pulled this, what was it? We've pulled Scapegoat in Tactical Masters, I think it was. No, we got Noir. We got Noir. The Scapegoat was not in a... the Scapegoat was actually not in a box from Smart Card. The Scapegoat I pulled when I won some boxes of Tactical Masters at a regional. Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah, the sponsor boxes are nice. Even though, honestly, that collector's rare is probably worse than, like, the Vanquish Soul Ultra Rare. Some of them. We'll check in a second how much it's worth. We get one more Ultra. I hope it's a Vanquish Soul. All right, Vanquish Soul continue. We didn't have that yet. That's the super rare, the other super rare spell, the Reborn. Or add back. Are you guaranteed ultras in these sets? Well, in per box, you get 3 ultras, or 2 ultras and a collector's. in an individual pack, you are not guaranteed an ultra. Not every pack has an ultra. Only like every box has a set number of ultras. Oh, the last ultra is evading. We have how many? 5 more. I once opened a Grand Creators box with no ultras. I didn't know that was possible. That must be like a production error. Which is very unfortunate if that's the case. Second CR? I don't think that's possible. Oh, the Fusion. Haven't seen that one yet. There we go. It's a Vanquish Soul. No, to no one's surprise, it's a Vanquish Soul. Because there's almost only Vanquish Souls in this set. All right, let's rip up the last 3 packs. I don't think we can have another Ultra. I think the Collector's Rare usually always replaces an Ultra. So I'm not expecting another one. Oops. Another Dust Devil. And a Transcendosaurus. All right. Wait, is this 7 cards per pack? I thought it was 5. Anyways. All right, lots of rares. So quick recap. We got most of the super rares. I don't remember any super rare that we haven't gotten. And we pulled, honestly, pretty damn good box. I mean, you really can't complain about 2 Vanquish Soul Ultras and a Collector's Rare. Really can't complain about that. That is a very solid box, definitely. And yes, okay, so that means 2 things. First of all, I'm gonna pay out the Gamba. We did not pull a non-Vanquish Soul Ultra Rare, so we did only pull Vanquish Soul Ultra Rares. Yes. I don't want to hear any complaints. Second of all, we're gonna give away this this Collector's Rare because I don't need it. I don't need it, so y'all can have it. Let me quickly set up the. Hold up. Let me clean up this mess real quick, and then I'm gonna set up the giveaway for the Collector's Rare. Is it EU only? No. You can win if you're not from EU. I don't care. All right. These rares out of the way. Where did we usually do that? Oh, Nightbot, yeah. Do you know what deck you're playing for Nationals? Not yet, but you can probably guess what I'm leaning towards. But yeah, I'm probably bringing some sort of runic variation. Honestly, I don't think I need to make a big secret out of it. I haven't decided yet, though. It's not like set in stone that I'm gonna do that. All right, chat. All you have to do to take part in the giveaway is type !collectors. That's the keyword I've chosen for this time around to win the Nouvelle, and we're gonna leave it running until like 55 or 56. Yeah, 56. 12:56, and then we're gonna give away the Nouvelle Restaurant at Table Collector's Rare. All you have to do, everyone is only type it once. Okay, once is enough, and you will be entered, and I will draw a winner at 12:56. And then all you need to do, obviously, is you need to send me your address either on Twitch or on my Discord. Whatever suits you, whatever you prefer, I don't care. Yeah. All right. Let me get to sleep. All right, there we are, 56. Good luck, everyone. Roll it. The Miguel Ouch is the winner. Let me write that down real quick. All right, you win this beautiful collector's rare. All you need to do is message me where I need to send it, either on Discord or on Twitch. And there you go. All right, congratulations. Let me see what... Hold up, what is this worth even? What was it? It was Nouvelle. Okay, it's not even that expensive. Okay, I wish I could have given you a more POG giveaway, but that's what it was. Was that the worst collector's rare that we pulled? Was it really the worst collector's rare? Rarity, collector's rare. Oh no, it wasn't. The other... Okay, there's two collectors there for Nouvelle, and this one was the better one of the two. Yeah, the other one is even worse. Okay, well, I mean, hey, a free collector's rare is a free collector's rare. Ain't no complaining. Ain't no complaining, chat. And we got... what did we get? We got a Vanquish Soul Raisin and a Heavy Burger. Okay, Heavy Burger is actually worth almost nothing. It's only $8. I mean, $8 isn't nothing. It's not terrible. And then Soul Raisin is like 18. So we got like... Actually, overall, the box wasn't even that good, right? We got $8 for the burger. This is 17, $18. So we're on 26 something. And then the other collectors was 22. So from the hollows, we were like $48 or something, which isn't like... It's not that great, right? Because like the box, that's roughly what the box would cost you, right? It's like between 50 and $60 is what it would run you. So it's not even that great what we pulled, but yeah, okay. Anyways, not bad either. Could have been worse. Why is Burger so cheap? It's a 3 of. I mean, the thing is, I don't think it is always a 3 of. Like, there's a lot of lists I've seen that only run 2. So I think that's the reason. Like, there's like cards where Raisin, the Link Monster, the Spell, those cards are undisputed 3 ofs, right? Undisputed, you always play 3. I think that's why they are more expensive, right? Like, you look here, you're like Stake Your Soul, Raisin, Mad Love. Those are like, and Rock of the Vanquisher. Those 4 are the most likely ones that you play 3 copies of. Right? But yeah. I pulled 2 Raisin and a Caesar Valius from mine. That's also not bad. That's pretty good. All right. I don't like 3 Mad Love. You know what? That's actually a very good segue. That's a very good segue because the next thing on the agenda for today, the next thing I have planned is to take a look at the Nationals that took place this weekend. However, not in that much detail because it was old format. For those of you that weren't aware, there was, I think, 3 nationals this weekend. There was Italy, there was the Netherlands, and there was Slovenia. Those were the nationals that happened, I believe. And I don't want to go into too much detail. We have the spreadsheet here, which you can go, I'm pretty sure we have it as a command as well. So if you want to look at some of the stuff yourself, you can just go !spreadsheet and you'll get the link and everything. I mostly want to focus on the things that stood out that were interesting from those nationals rather than just evaluating the format as a whole, because, you know, spoiler alert, the format as a whole was 50% Cash Tira in Top Cut for like Italy. Like pretty much, long story short, dude, Cash Tira was the best deck before the ban list. So one thing that was everywhere over the weekend, I feel like, was Italian National. Vanquish Soul got 2nd place. Vanquish Soul got 2nd place in Italy, which out of 1,600 players is not a very easy thing to do. That's pretty cool. The deck list is also here, so let's take a look at that. I haven't seen it yet, but it is pretty much what you'd expect at first glance. What I'm seeing right here. It's pretty much what you would expect from Vanquish Souls. I mean, there's a few things that are, I think, debatable, but for the most part, it's what you would expect. It plays There Can Be Only One, which is a card that I'm seeing a lot of lists include. The thing is, There Can Be Only One doesn't really have great synergy with Vanquish Souls in itself. The only synergy it has with Vanquish Souls is that it doesn't care about it. That does not mean you have to play it. It doesn't mean you have to play the card, only because it doesn't conflict with your deck. But you can. I mean, you can use it, for sure. It's good in some matchups, right? It's like, you'd have to think about it in the current format. I don't know how many decks it's actually that good against, but it's solid. It's at the end, yeah, it's a floodgate at the end of the day, but yeah. In terms of the hand traps we have here, I'm very interested in why we're choosing to play the Earth Kaiju. I feel like if you want any, you'd want it to be a fire, but I'm not sure. Strunk, thank you for the 2 months. Rocap BG, thank you for the Prime. Welcome to the channel. Appreciate the support. And Why I'm Still Hungry, thank you for the 8 months. Long time supporter. Appreciate you. It's Earth. I know it's Earth. I know this one is Earth, but I'm not sure why we're choosing Earth. I feel like you would really want Fire, right? Because Fire in my eyes is like the most important one to open up, because it means that Stake Your Soul can find Raisin, which honestly, this deck is really about, like, it's kind of stupid if you phrase it that way, but it's really just about, you want to have access to Raisin and then draw a bunch of non-engine cards. It's as simple as that. Just draw Raisin and have non-engine, and that's what the deck thrives at. So, I don't know. Another very interesting thing to point out is Pot of Prosperity. Pot of Prosperity is an interesting card in this deck because it obviously helps you find Raisin. It helps you find Raisin, but it stops you from drawing the turn you use it, obviously. Which means that you can't use your Heavy Burger to full extent, right? Raisin is circular. I mean, look, technically, yes. Technically, it functions the same way, kind of. But it is different because drawing Raisin is not like auto win, right? Drawing Raisin just gets you going. You still have to actually play the game. Drawing circular, you don't really play the game anymore. You just do your thing and that's it. Araya Ariel, thank you for the 4 months. And Skill Drain Enjoy, thank you for the 5. Can you please say that the deck is bad so prices go down? My opinion on the deck hasn't changed. My opinion on the deck hasn't really changed after the weekend. We're going to look at some of the feature matches from it because it had some. Sadly, the finals wasn't streamed. We'll talk about why in a second. But my opinion hasn't changed in the sense that I don't think this was something that was incredibly unexpected. I also don't think it was something that was super predictable, but the way I looked at Vanquish Soul and the way I described the deck like last week or something, or in my tier list, was like, I think it's a solid tier 2 deck that can do well at tournaments, but quite simply, it doesn't give you the right, like, it costs too much. Because it has so many ultra rares, it's unreasonable. It's not impossible to do well with the deck. It's a decent deck, but like someone in chat earlier said they got the entire core for $250. The core without staples. So if you get the core for $250, and let's say you want to build this list, right? You need to drop some money on Ashes, you need to drop some money on Nibs, some money on Prosps, some money on Imperms, Zeus's, Exiton, whatever. You're looking at Kurikaras, you're looking at a 500 plus deck, right? This specific list is like 800. Maybe it's even 800. I'm not that good with prices. You guys know that. Maybe it's more than 500. Maybe it's 600, 700, 800. You're looking at a pretty steep deck cost here for, in my opinion, a tier 2 deck, right? And the thing is, if you already have the staples, why wouldn't you just play another tier 2 deck that's like, it almost gives you the same chances at doing well, but it's not as expensive, right? And so I think the ratio between what the deck offers you and the price you have to pay for it is just a little off on Vanquish Souls. It's like, it's not that the deck is bad, but like, if you think the deck is incredibly fun, then go for it. But most people also choose their decks based on how well they can do with it. And honestly, for the price of Vanquish Souls, you can probably get better decks for this upcoming format, right? And I think that's the end of it, really. Like, if you want to invest that type of money because you just like the deck that much, then go ahead, but don't expect it to overperform or anything. Like, it's an okay deck. It can perform. I think it's solid even, but you probably get better decks for less money. As simple as that. And people don't really like that, I think. Right? I like decks that are cheaper. Labyrinth. One hell of a deck. Branded. I'm pretty sure branded. How much is a branded core? Like, there is expensive cards in branded. It's not like branded is dirt cheap. But I'm pretty sure a branded core is less than a Vanquish Soul core. Because branded also doesn't play like Prosperity and shit. Cartesia and Quem are money. Yeah. And that's it, right? BA is quite cheap. Okay, well, okay. For BA, I think what you get for your money is also pretty abysmal. Because if you spend $1 on BA, you get nothing in return. So I'm not sure if that's a good deal. Lubellion, Quem, and Cartesia. So those three cards you need one of typically, right? You need one Lubellion, one Quem, one Cartesia, and that's like $150, and then the rest is like cheap-ish, right? Maybe 2 Cartesia is okay. Maybe 2 Cartesia, and then we're talking like $200, right? And then you need like, the rest is like starter deck shit. Which of you fuckers banned me? I know who. I know, but I won't. I'm not narking. I don't narc. No narcs. All right, chat. Vanquish Soul. So that is my verdict on Vanquish Soul before we're gonna look into this stuff, because the way I see it is, I think the deck is solid. I think the deck is playable, but the deck is not worth what it costs. Basically, that's my take on Vanquish Soul. That was my take last week. I don't think that take has changed yet, or that situation has changed yet, because yeah, it was definitely like possible that the deck would top Nationals. And we're going to see how it did that now. More specifically, there was coverage of the Italian Nationals, and I scrolled through this morning. I found 2 feature matches for the Vanquish Soul player. It was both times it was the same player. One is round 9, and I think there was also a top cut match that was streamed. I think it was also a top cut match that was streamed. So I'm gonna look at those. Unfortunately, like I said earlier, they got all the way to the finals. But they did not stream the finals for reasons. Apparently the venue got flooded. So there's no footage of the top 8 and onwards. Which unfortunate turn of events. So my impression from Italian Nationals is that obviously besides the Vanquish Soul getting second place, it was a very, very standard pre-ban list Nationals, right? There was nothing really, Gian, thank you for the 6 months. Welcome back. What happened that the stream stopped? It was they had a leak in the venue. There was like water coming out of the ground and shit like that. I don't know exactly what happened. They had trouble with the venue themselves. They got floodgated. They got floodgated IRL, and they had to stop the stream. Because they had to save the streaming equipment, I can imagine, from the water. They still played the last remaining matches from top 8, probably somewhere else, but they just couldn't keep the stream set up. Wasn't Bologna itself flooded too? I heard that, but I can't confirm. I wasn't there. I don't know. If anyone here was at Italian Nationals, feel free to let me know in chat what happened exactly. All I heard was that they had problem with water in the venue. I don't know what exactly happened, why it happened, whatever, but it was, yeah. Yes, all month. Okay, so it's apparently it's been an issue in Italy these last couple weeks with rain and floodings. So, yeah. Hard Game Gods didn't want Vanquish Soul winning Nationals, so they flooded the venue. Well, I mean, they still played. They didn't stop the tournament, and they just lost the finals. So there's that. There's nothing special about it. It's just the only thing that actually changed was we didn't have a stream. That was the only thing that was different. Anyways. This is the deck list. Honestly, for the most part, it looks like a very standard deck list for the last format. I don't think there's anything too special about it. There was another deck list that I wanted to look at today, which was Ryan Levine's deck list. And Ryan, I think, is a very good deck builder. And honestly, this list looks very clean. I like this a lot. Went 5-1 in a case tournament with the new Vanquish Soul deck today. Had a lot of fun, but still finding my footing for sure. Gonna really have to crunch the numbers on the correct attributes and text to play as the format develops, but the new FNL list definitely opened things up. Now, I think, and this is an I think memento, I don't know for sure, but I think this was new ban list. The one card. So there's only one card I'm surprised to see here. Really only one. And that's Effect Veiler. Because I'm seeing a trend with all the other tech cards here. Like, Fenrir is an earth, you want that attribute. Ash is a fire, you want that attribute. Kirikara is an attribute you want. Bell has an attribute you want. Regulus, Crow have attributes you want. I'm not sure why Whaler is here. Maybe it's because you can reveal it for Small World to go into whatever you want. Maybe that's a thing. That could be a reason for sure. However, I'm also not a big fan of Small World. Just to be clear, I'm not a huge fan of Small World. but maybe it's necessary. Like, I mean, Raisin is one hell of a card. Let's be real. In this deck, Raisin is one hell of a card. It's really good. So maybe you need Small World to find it. But I just hate Small World. I don't know. I just like no, I don't hate Small World. It's just I hate the decks that need to play Small World, you know? It's kind of a paradox card for me personally. I'm not saying it's bad because it's obviously an okay card, you know? Going -1 to search a certain card can be worth it. It's just my issue with it is that whenever there's a deck that needs one specific card so badly that it needs to play Small World, I usually don't like the deck, you know what I mean? Because I don't like decks that are dependent on that one specific card way too much, you know? Mathmech is another example of this. So, like, in a way, this sounds weird, but in a way, Vanquish Soul is a little bit like Mathmech, just a little less toxic. Vanquish Soul is, like, less toxic Mathmech. Jesse played this deck yesterday and didn't feel it. I mean, I'm in the same boat. I'm in the same boat. I think this deck looks fun. When I'm watching the feature matches of this deck, when I watch this deck play, I'm like, hey, this deck looks fun. I like this deck. It's cool. It doesn't look like something I want to bring to the next tournament. But there's not all Yu-Gi-Oh decks have to be, in my eyes, they don't all have to be tier 0 decks to be enjoyable. I think it's completely fine to have a deck like this that's just like fun, a fun concept, and I can maybe bring it to a regional and have fun with it. The only problem, literally, that I have with Vanquish Soul is how expensive it is for what it offers you. And I've been saying that over and over and over again. I think Vanquish Soul is hype. It's a very cool archetype. I would love to play it. I'm just not looking to spend like $300 for the deck core for what it does, right? Because it's basically, in my eyes, it's more like a tier 2/fun deck. Which, like, I mean, it depends what you're trying to do. But for me personally, who has a very competitive approach, right? Tier 2 to me is almost like a fun deck, right? It's technically it's not because you can do well with it, but for me, if I'm not it's not among the best options, right? And so that's why I'm like kind of weirded out by Vanquish Soul, because it's this deck that I would really like to get the cards, right? I would like to get the cards. I would like to have the deck. I would like to mess around with it. I would maybe you know, I don't get the hate this deck gets. Are people just so? I don't really see the hate. I don't really see hate for Vanquish Soul. I really don't. Like, I don't see. Honestly, this is a very weird take to me, because I see everyone is like, I like Vanquish Soul. I feel like no one is hating Vanquish Soul. Why would you hate Vanquish Soul? The deck is cool. I don't think anyone is hating on it. I think people just hate the fact how much it costs. I think it's more like people are disappointed because they wanted to pick it up, but now they have to spend $300 for like a tier 2 deck. I think that's more like it. I really think that's more the reason. You know, and I'm in the same boat. I'm just like, I would like to get those cards, but I'm not really looking to spend that much money on the deck. Right? There Can Be Only One is a card that's annoying to play against, frustrating to play against for a lot of decks, but that's not a Vanquish Soul exclusive. Yeah, the deck doesn't care about There Can Be Only One, so you can play it in the deck. But as you can see here, honestly, hot take, not so hot take, I think, but I think the best version of Vanquish Soul will not run Tikaboo. I don't think Tikaboo is a card you should main deck in Vanquish Soul. You don't need it, I think. You really don't. It's one of the things I think people have to get away from. The mentality that only because a certain floodgate does not conflict with your own deck does not mean you have to play it. That's a thing I see very often. There's like people play cards only because they don't conflict with your own deck. You know, like people be playing any sort of floodgate just because it, you know, doesn't conflict. Like, oh, my deck is all darks, I have to play Gozen match. My entire deck has the same type, so I'm gonna play Rivalry, right? So like that's not how it works. You have to understand that putting floodgates into your deck in general has like applications, right? Like you drawing a floodgate going second most of the time will be very bad, no matter if it conflicts with your deck or not. If you go second, you probably lose the game by the time that you activate a floodgate. If you go second and you play with one less card because you opened a purple card in your deck, that's not very good. And then at the same time, most of the decks, when they go first, already have an advantage. They don't really need another floodgate to further strengthen going first, right? You can side deck those cards if they're good in the format, if they solve a certain matchup, sure, but you don't automatically have to main deck. There can be only one, only because the Vanquish Soul archetype has a bunch of different types. That's not how it works. You know, that's not how it works. Absolutely not. That's why there's a bunch of other decks that could theoretically play certain floodgates, but they don't. What are you thinking is better, Runic Sprite with Fur Hire or with Life Twin? That's something I can't say as of yet. I don't know yet. Like I am very interested in the Runic Fur Hire deck because I'm gonna be honest with you. If German Nationals was this weekend, I would 100% show up with Runic Sprite. I mean, I don't think this is a surprise to anyone, but German Nationals is in 1.5 weeks, and my current favorite to bring is some sort of Runic Sprite. That's just how it is. Like I have a little bit of hope that I can play something else as well. I mean, hope is the wrong word because I don't mind showing up. I don't mind showing up with the Runic deck. I think Runic decks are freaking based. I'm gonna enjoy my time. I'm feeling so much better this year than last year for German Nationals. Because this year, honestly, I don't think I can go wrong at all. If I have no clue what to play, just freaking run Runic Sprite, either Fur Hire or Life Twin, and I'll be good. I'll be fine. So there's that, right? I'm happy. I'm happy about that, right? Whether it's going to be the Fur Hire version or the Life Twin version, I don't know, quite frankly. I think they both have their pros and cons. I think the Life Twin version is a little bit more consistent. The Life Twin version is a little bit more consistent because drawing a Life Twin is just like you're good to go. Like, easy clap. Just draw a Life Twin, and you go. And you also have to play less bricks, right? Like the Fur Hire cards are like you have 3 Fossil Dig, you have 3 Rex. Those are your good cards. And the Rafale, the Beat, the Dawnpaw, and the Spell card are not that great to draw, right? They're not that great to draw. But Bestials are in side decks. You have a point. People are siding some amount of Bestials, and they are pretty good against the Life Twin version. So, pros and cons. You know, I don't know yet. I don't know yet which one I would play, but if it's a Runic deck, it's for sure one of the two. It's for sure the Fur Hire or the Life Twin version. One of the 2 decks, I'm pretty sure. And then, like, I have some other options that I am considering in the back of my head for German Nationals. Like I was planning on visiting some Dragon Link maybe. Even the Vanquish Soul deck, I was kind of toying around with the idea of bringing it, but honestly, the more I see from it, the more I'm moving away from that idea. Because first of all, I don't have the cards yet. And it's looking like a very fun deck, but it feels like it could be another Libromancer situation where I'm gonna end up regretting bringing it next after the event. When is German Nationals again? So the timeline for European Nationals is that this upcoming weekend we have French Nationals, which, by the way, I've said it earlier, but I will probably 95% I will be live on Sunday watch partying the second day of French Nationals because I think they're only going to be streamed in French. So I feel like it's going to be nice to go ahead and watch them together, the top cut at least. I can't stream on Saturday, but on Sunday I'm planning to go live for a little watch party French Nationals because it's also a pretty big Nationals and it's new format. That's like why I'm specifically excited about this one. It's because it's new format. I would have maybe even gone live to watch party Italian Nationals, but dude, yeah, I don't know. Old format, I just couldn't do it. It wasn't interesting to me personally as much. So French Nationals first big tournament first big tournament with the new ban list, French Nationals. I'm gonna be here watching day 2. So that's gonna be cool. And then German Nationals is the week after. German Nationals is the week after. So I have my national championship in just about 1.5 months. 1.5 weeks, sorry, not months, weeks, of course. So that's the timeline for nationals. There's also some other nationals happening, I think. There's some more nationals happening. I don't know exactly which ones. And then we're already heading into the European Championship season. Or like territory. Well, like 2 weeks, 2 weeks after German Nationals is already European Championship, which is kind of crazy to think about, right? 2 weeks after. It's usually not that close together. But we have German National in 1.5 weeks, and then European Championship 2 weeks after. Which also means, World Championship qualifier, playoff, and everything. A lot of exciting stuff happening. Although I am not exactly sure whether I'm going to be able to play in the TCG World Championship if I qualify. That's something that's up in the air if I can. But, yeah. Since ninjas are getting a structure deck in 2 days on Master Duel, how good are they? I don't think they're that great. My friend got top 4 with Gold Pride Punk at Dutch Nats if you want to check it out. Yeah. The other thing I have planned for today, by the way, is we're going to do tier lists for hand traps and board breakers. Just my first impression, because obviously we don't really have a format yet. But just like what I think is going to change. So we can do that in a bit. But we have some time. We can check it out. Didn't know it was Thursday. Well, it's Tuesday. Gold Pride. Wait. Gold Pride Punk. Why is it called purely X Gold Pride? Because it's the purely guy?
Welcome to the channel, guys. It's the Purely guy, and today I have a deck profile that isn't Purely.
Bro, imagine naming yourself the Purely guy, and then when the deck becomes playable, they shaft it like 1 week after release. Imagine naming yourself the Purely guy, and then your deck gets killed before it even gets good.
But it's still a very important one, since it's Pride Month. We have here Fabio Roland. What did you do today?
I got top 4 at the Dutch National Championship with Gold Pride Punk. And like you said, since it's Pride Month, I had to play this deck and top.
Alright, show us what you played today.
So, for starters, I of course played the Punk cards. This is very, very standard. Like, this is basically what everyone who is playing Punk plays these ratios. This is very, very standard.
Okay, so we played Trap Searcher and Spell Searcher, so we're going full Punk.
This. Then for the Gold Pride engine, I'm playing these two. These three, one of the Roller Water, one of the Nitro. This guy was MVP. I played so many cash guys.
It is worth mentioning that the Nitro head will become significantly worse if less people play Kashtira, right? It's just like, that's how it is, right? One of the main selling points, you could actually argue that this deck gets worse with the new ban list, because one of its main selling points was that it can auto win against Kashtira by resolving Nitro head, you know what I mean?
And when they shift to me, I just go like, okay, you're probably playing cash. And I make the SCs, get to this guy, summon it, give them a token, and they're like, wait, I can't link it off, I can't attack, I'm fucked. And yeah, that's basically what happened. So this guy is very nice. Then for the spells and traps that are in engine, I played, of course, the field spell, the trap, the search it, 2 of the continuous, because you want to be able to search it when you need to.
Better luck next time.
But 3 is too much in my opinion. Then I played this. This is insane, of course. This is what makes Gold Pride good. And this is a no-brainer. Italy is amazing. Why that card came back, I don't know, but I'm really happy about it because I love playing Viking decks. Then for the non-engine, like the real non-engine stuff, 2 Book of Moon, because fuck cash. 3 Talents, because fuck cash. 1 Duster, because fuck monkey decks. Sorry Labyrinth guys, I'm sorry Mark, but I don't like Labyrinth. 2 Trust. And this was basically because I was like, we're in a very hand trap heavy format.
Dude is
I'm gonna
full of hate,
drawn
dude.
and shifted a lot, and this can set the trap, which is very nice.
Why are we so full of hate?
Then of course Imperm, Nibs, Ash, and the 1 goes over because I can search it.
Bro, was your goal to play as many gold rares as possible? Because your deck is Gold Pride? Is that what you did? You thought that was funny?
I'm not maining draw because I was like, it's of course good versus super heavy, but it's in my opinion kind of meh versus the other decks. So I thought it was not worthy of main decking. And to the extra deck, I played the 1 Leon, the 1 Amazing, or the Gem Dragon, the 1 Dragite, because you use this when they draw you, you can still end on Shurkuja and Dragite, which is nice. I played this guy. The theory behind it, and also in testing, this guy was amazing, but I haven't summoned it. I think I summoned it once yesterday, so probably gonna change it. We'll see. This guy, MVP.
I'm still scared whenever I see Crimson Blader, dude. I remember when that card was always game when it resolved in 2013.
I summon this guy so often. Then under 4 summons,
thank you for the 3 months. Welcome back.
Summon this guy, you killed him. Amazing Dragon, IP, also Unicorn, and access code. I played IP because in testing I had a lot of hands where I like ended on the carry, and I think it's on carry and Gem Dragon if I can't play around it in. So then I just linked them off into IPs for 2 reasons. 1 reason, you have more interruptions. 2nd reason is then your carry goes back into the graveyard, so you don't have to summon carry in the end phase with the XCs from your deck, because you don't want to take the risk of your trap not being live. I play the carry, of course. This to play around Nib. Zeus, because Zeus is Zeus. Carp, very good card, and this guy is, of course, you have to play it. The baller. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, it's Gold Pride Punk, dude. It's just it's all right. I'm not convinced by this deck at all, but I think it's playable. Is the gist of it. I think it's all right. You know, it's just all right. We can't see the XYZ. Oh, it was the Photon Lord, whatever. Do you think Cashier will play Bestials to banish their Arise Art if it gets outed? I think that is very, very niche. I think if you play Bestials, it's only because they're good in the format, not because you can banish your own Arise Art after it gets outed. That's a very... Like, when you play a card that becomes live in a turn 3 scenario, you're not going to play it for that reason. Very simple. But that's a very good segue. Let me turn back on some music. It's a good segue because one thing I wanted to do today is talk about the situation of hand traps and board breakers and how they change in this new upcoming format, right? Because we've had, of course, these last couple of weeks where everyone was kind of anonymously agreeing that we were in a hand trap format, right? Everyone was playing Droll and Lockbird. A lot of Gamma, even cards like Ghost Ogre found their way back into the main decks because people were scared of Super Heavy Samurai. And it was kind of like a deal where hand traps are really good against hand traps are really good and necessary against Super Heavy Samurai, and they're like decent into the other decks, right? However, now in this new format where Super Heavy Samurai really got the axe with the Link 1 being banned, we're basically looking at an entirely new situation, and I think that's why it's the perfect timing to renew these tier lists. Hold on, let me. Yeah, this is better. So we're gonna go over the situation of hand traps and also board breakers today. Keep in mind that this is just my first impression of the format. I don't know exactly what the format is going to look like. I don't really have the ability to completely predict what everyone is going to play, but I still think we can go off of what we have and what we think is popular and just how I would approach it personally, because we have big nationals coming up. This weekend is French nationals, the week after is German nationals. After those tournaments, we're going to know better what to expect, but for now, we're just going to go off of my first impression. So, let's just go one by one. I think Ash Blossom is a very good card in this upcoming format. If you want to play hand traps, I think Ash Blossom is one of the first ones you play. I don't think the card is completely insane, but just the fact that Branded didn't get hit on the ban list at all, really, and Ash is really solid. Ash was really bad against Super Heavy Samurai, and that deck is now gone. Ash was also mediocre against Kashtira, and that deck got weaker. Honestly, with Unicorn going to 2, Ash is actually a bit better against Kashtira now, because they are less likely to just open Unicorn. So if you just Ash the field spell, they're less likely to have a backup Unicorn, or if you Ash Theosis on Fenrir, they're less likely to have a Unicorn access, so like Ash becomes a little bit better. It's pretty good against Labyrinth too, which is also one of the big winners of the ban list. The one deck that it's not very good against is Runic Sprite Variations. Yes, you can Ash against that deck, but they usually play through it. But it's not terrible still, right? There's no deck where Ash is not great, but it is pretty good against some of the looking to be top decks. So I think Ash is safe to say that it will be a good hand trap / very good hand trap in the new format. So yeah, I mean, Ash is solid. So Bell is another very interesting one, because I think Bell has always been this kind of situational hand trap, but right now, I'm gonna be honest, I can see Bell finding its way into some main decks. I can see it because the card is pretty good against Branded. The card is good against Labyrinth, because if you didn't know, the big welcome Labyrinth can summon from the graveyard, so the card is good there. It can hit Fountain against the Runic decks, which sometimes they can set up a Sprite Red negate beforehand or whatever, but sometimes it just works. Sometimes you can negate the draw 3. It's all right against a lot of the looking to be top decks, right? And it's like, maybe that even makes it good in the main deck. I'm not sure. I'm still gonna leave it at the very top of the second category. Because it's Bell, right? It's not as versatile as Ash. But I do think there's a solid chance that Bell finds its way into some main decks, because it's looking to be solid. I'm not sure if it's better than the monster negations that we're looking at later, but it's solid. Bestials go kind of in the same vein. I think Bestials are going to be side deck mainstays in this format, for sure. I mean, ever since their introduction, they've been like popular. Branded is a big deal. They are worse against Labyrinth than Bell, but they are still okay. They are also decent in some of the Runic matchups, like against Life Twins. They can have great impact. If Mathmech is still a deck, then that's a thing. Of course, the cards are a lot better if you're playing a Dragon deck yourself, like Dragon Link. Then you're gonna play Bestials. But I think they have some really good potential to see some play. I don't know about main decking those. I think before I main deck Bestials, I'd probably main deck Bell, unless your deck has some inherent synergy with the Bestials. But they're all right. They're all right. I like them. Ghost Reaper, I don't see a huge use case for Ghost Reaper. I don't know. I don't think it's that great against the top tier decks. It's definitely bad against Labyrinth. I don't think it's great against the other decks as well. Maybe there's a use case against Branded, but Branded usually has other ways, alternative ways to play. If you cherries, like for example, Mirror Jade, I'm not sure if that's even good enough because they can bring it back into the extra deck with Lubel. I don't think Bell is that great. I don't think Bell is that great. Crow goes into the decent category in my opinion. It's like Crow has its uses in most matchups, but it doesn't really stop anything super important, right? Like you can use it against Labyrinth to stop the furnitures in the graveyard. You can use it against Runic to stop like a revive from the Furhires or a draw from Fountain, but only one. And you can stop a Life Twin, but in that scenario, you would just rather have a Bestial. I think most of the time, Bell or Bestials just do the job better and more consistently than Crow, but it's not terrible. Droll and Lockbird, I think, is also situational. It got a lot worse. I personally don't think you should be maining Droll and Lockbird right now. In terms of the power of Droll and Lockbird, I think we're kind of back at the pre-Cyberstorm Axis point where the card was sometimes okay against decks like Kashtira or like even Branded. Sometimes against some Branded hands, Droll is really good. Sometimes it's really bad. Same goes for Runic decks, actually. Like, you know, you might think Runic decks are really weak to Droll, but honestly, if the Runic player is smart and uses, like, the Runic spells and the tip in the draw phase, maybe even the starter if they have it, yes, you will stop some of the amount of stuff that they can do, but they will still draw with Runics on your turn and stuff like that. I think it's not that great overall. It's not a very consistent hand trap. It's, like, more risky than anything else. Also sucks against Labyrinth. I'm not a big fan of Droll, but you can play it in certain matchups. It's okay. Gamma is still included in here. The card is limited now. I think overall Gamma is now a mediocre card. Of course, the card still does the same thing, but the ratio you get for Gamma is just terrible, right? You have to play one Gamma, one Driver. That's just terrible. Maybe it's just bad. Don't play Gamma. I don't think any deck enjoys the deal of you get one Gamma for the cost of playing one Driver. It's just not worth it anymore. Yeah, that was always a deal with Gamma. It's like you get to play 3 really powerful hand traps for the cost of playing one Driver. Now, when the deal is you play one, you get, like, it's just, nah. You don't do that. Chaos Hunter as a hand trap is probably pretty bad. You can use it as Mannequin Cat target still. In that case, I think it's good, but as a hand trap, it's not very good. Let's talk about effect negation. Valor and Mourner and Imperm. Because I think effect negation is in an interesting spot this format. Kind of similar to, like I said, pre-Cyberstorm Axis. I think all 3 of those cards, Imperm, Valor, and Mourner, are playable. They are good cards. But I have one major issue with them. And that is the same issue that I had before Cyberstorm Axis released. And that is that most of the time, when I go second and I draw an effect negation hand trap, yes, they work. Yes, they do something for me. But most of the time, I would rather have like a solid non-engine / board breaker card instead. Because they are they do something, but their impact is kind of limited. I will put Imperm into the very good category and the other 2 in decent. They are definitely not situational because they are very consistent. You have to understand that situational, only because the tier is higher in this tier list, doesn't mean that situational is always better than, you know, these decent hand traps. Basically, what I mean by this is the decent hand traps, they are very consistently doing what they do. Whereas the situational cards sometimes are a lot better than these. Sometimes they are a lot worse, right? These cards are always okay-ish, but they're not, I don't think they're ever like completely crazy. Unless you get very lucky, right? If you get very lucky, then your opponent just passes after Effect Valor, but it's not that likely. But yeah, effect negation is in an okay spot. Imperm, I think specifically, is better than the other two because it can't get it doesn't play into talents, it doesn't play into thrust. It can be drawn as the 6th card and negate something on your opponent's board. I think that's all right. Like, for example, your opponent goes into a Rise Hard, you draw into Imperm, you're fine. You just Imperm it. It's all right, you know? Put decent over situation. I think it's right this way because the situational cards have the potential to be up here. They also have the potential to be down here. So I think it's right to put them right in the middle, right? I think right in the middle is where they deserve to be because sometimes they're better, sometimes they're worse. So they're like in the middle. I think in my head it makes sense. So we're gonna keep it like this. Lancea. I don't see a reason to play Lancea right now. I don't. Yeah. No, long story short, I don't see a reason to play it. Nibiru. I don't think that any of the current top decks really play into Nibiru. I'm kind of tempted to throw it in situational, but I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't even know which of the current expected decks really play into Nibiru. It's not that great against, like, it's not great against Branded, even though sometimes they play into it. It's not good against Labyrinth. Kashtira with the new ban list, I think very often won't really commit into Nibiru, because really, what's the payoff? Like, without Diablosis, you don't really get anything out of committing into more summons. I think Kashtira most of the time should just go a Rise Hard pass, because that's what the deck does now. Like, what else do you do? Unless you're playing the Raid Raptor version, which I don't know. There is probably decks that play into it, which is why I'm going to leave it at the very bottom of situational, but I don't expect to be playing this card, and I don't expect to be seeing this card a lot. Overall, it just feels wrong to put a card with the potential impact of Nibiru in the mediocre category, because for the matchups and the situations where it does resolve, it's still a very powerful card. I just don't think that the situations that Nibiru appears in or is good in are going to be very, like, it's not going to be very often. So very bottom of situational if I'm being generous with Nibiru. But I definitely wouldn't main deck this card. Ghost Ogre, I think, had a very short time in the light in these last couple of weeks, because it was a pretty good card against Super Heavy Samurai and Purely. Both of those decks are among the decks that take the most damage from the Forbidden and Limited list. So I don't see a reason to play Ghost Ogre right now. Like, literally, Labyrinth card is pretty much dead. Branded card is pretty much dead. Kashtira card is pretty much dead. Runic decks, you can hit Fountain, but there's better ways to do it because they can protect it with Hugin. Don't play Ghost Ogre. Just don't play Ghost Ogre. Shifter. If your deck can play Shifter, it's probably pretty good because, I mean, it's like bad against Kashtira if people still play that. It's bad against it's not great against Labyrinth. It's not completely dead against Labyrinth. Like, if your deck doesn't care about it at all, Labyrinth cares about it a little bit. You know, their traps being banished, their furniture being banished sucks a little bit for them. So I think Shifter is good. If your deck can play it, you probably should. Maybe side deck it. Depends on how the format turns out. If people still play a lot of Kashtira, then maybe you want to side deck it, but I'm leaning towards if your deck can play Shifter, you probably should. You probably should. Skullmeister, I don't see a reason to play it. And Retaliating Sea and Contact Sea, I think actually both are decent. I don't think you can ever main deck those cards, but if your deck wants to side deck those cards, they're okay. Contact Sea can hit Branded Fusion. It can hit Runic spells that try to summon. It's a pretty okay card. And then Contact Sea is also pretty good against Branded, because I think nowadays not everyone plays Sprint to fuse away with it. And even if they do play Sprint, you can you still prevent a better fusion from being summoned, right? They have to play suboptimally to get rid of the contact. See, they don't get Mirror Jade, instead they have a sprint, you know? So that's something I can see happening. I can see those cards seeing some play. I think they are all right. In general, though, we're gonna record the board breaker tier list after. I think we are in a situation where I don't think decks want to be playing that many hand traps. Similar to before Cyberstorm Access, a lot of decks are gonna want to play some amount of hand traps, but not that many, because I think there are not gonna be that many Omni negates. Which is always a case where if there's not that many negations going around, you'd rather play board breakers than hand traps because they're usually more high impact cards. But that's the ranking on hand traps. Feel free to discuss in the comments down below, YouTube. And we're going to be moving on to recording the board breakers in a bit. So make sure to subscribe to the channel to not miss that. And hope you enjoyed the video and found it helpful for your preparations for the new format. Once again, keep in mind, this is my first guess of the format and not more than that, so it's just an educated guess that I'm making. I hope it helps. Thank you for watching and see you next time. Bye bye. Okay, by the way, if you decide Delta or Epsilon are good, you also play the one Gamma. I mean, yeah, that's fair, okay, I need to go to the toilet really quick and then we do the board breakers too, chat. I'll be right back. All right. Here we are. Kurikara is one of the best board breakers still. I had too many matches where that card alone won me the game. It's still pretty good, yeah. It's like, we're gonna talk about Kurikara in a bit. But I think it's solid. Did you already react to the new spell? No, we're gonna do that after. We're gonna do that after. I've seen that they posted a new card. But I haven't reacted to it yet. I haven't read it yet. We will though. Don't worry. What do you think about Cyframe Delta this format? 1 Gamma, 2 Deltas. A lot of decks play into Delta right now. Which one is Delta? The Delta is spell, right? Yeah. I don't know. It's kind of weird how Delta has never seen play yet. I don't remember ever playing Delta. I've played Gamma and I've also played Epsilon before, but I've never played Delta, even though spells are like a big deal. But for some reason, Delta just never feels like it's the most important thing you could prevent is a spell card. It's a little bit awkward. Like, it's a good card, but in the most cases, also because destroying, I think that's one of the reasons, is like destroying a spell card is usually way less useful than destroying a monster, right? Like you on Gamma, you negate the effect and you destroy the card, which makes it better than like Veiler or Imperm, for example. But with Delta, if you Delta a spell card, it doesn't really feel like you get a bigger payoff than just, you know, ashing it, for example, right? Like if I Delta a Branded Fusion, it's actually worse than ashing it because they can activate another one. Because a lot of spells say you can only activate it once per turn, right? Which is that with Ash, that's not the case. I don't know. Oh yeah, Branded Lost also prevents Delta, right? Yeah. All right. Delta does nothing going first. Well, Gamma, honestly, a lot of the time, Gamma also doesn't, right? I mean, sometimes it does, but very often it doesn't either. But you are right, like, Delta doesn't, Delta does never do something. Gamma beats Shifter, which is a big deal. It only beats Shifter if your opponent, like, it's usually incorrect to Shifter draw phase. Gamma is live going first more than Delta? Not anymore. All right. Let's get this second recording done. And then we talk about it a little bit more. All right. What is up, YouTube? Welcome back to the second tier list in this iteration. It's less a tier list than just a discussion on these cards. We've done hand traps already. If you haven't seen that video, go check it out. We're doing tech cards / board breakers now. All your power spells, all your going second monster cards, and what I think they are going to be like in the upcoming format, how good they're going to be. And let's just go over them one by one. We're using the same tiers as in the hand trap category, as of like the cards that are very good can make it into your main deck. The situational cards are like really good against some decks and not very good against others, so you might want to think about rather siding them. You could main deck these if you really expect a lot of the decks that they're good against. Then decent cards are like solid in the main deck, they're all right. And then we got mediocre and bad. So here we go. Feather Duster. It goes into the situational category because it is mostly, I don't even think it's bad against any of the decks, really. The only deck I can really think of where it's genuinely bad when you go second is Branded. Because like Kashtira, it hits some stuff. Sprite, it'll hit like Smashers, Double Cross, or Force the Negate. Obviously good against Labyrinth. Obviously good against Runic decks, even though they can protect with Hugin. Duster is good going second against most decks, but it's really bad going first. And against some decks, like Kashtira, yes, you hit some cards, but you hit the less important part of their board, right? Like, you look at a Kashtira board, you're like, I think that Arise Heart is a bigger problem than that Birth in the back row. You know what I mean? So Duster is okay, but I think I would stick to side decking Duster in this upcoming format. I think that's my suggestion for Duster. And back row removal in general. The same goes for Lightning Storm. I don't think you ever main deck Lightning Storm. I think if you want to, you can play your 2 copies of Lightning Storm. If you're really like paranoid about back row decks, I think it's okay to play Lightning Storm and Duster in your side decks. I would not recommend main decking these in many circumstances. Let's talk about this category altogether of the monsters that tribute your opponent's shit. So we got Kurikara, Kaiju's, Santa Claus, which is technically the same as Kaiju's, Lava Golem, and Sphere Mode. So Santa Claus, out of all these, was only really good in Purely. Now, I'm not going to go over the reasons why it was good in Purely and not good in other decks. Again, we've talked about this a billion times in the past. This card was specifically good in Purely. If you're not playing Purely, don't play Santa Claus, okay? If you still are on like a going second Purely Copium kind of train, you can play Santa Claus, but in any other decks, I don't think you should. Simple as that. In other decks, Kaijus are better. Which Kaijus, I think, are decent cards. I think Kaijus are decent. They are still really powerful against Kashtira specifically. Now, the question is, how popular is that deck going to be? I don't think it's going to be that popular, which is why I'm only putting them in decent. Because in other matchups, you'd really rather have other cards, you know, than a Kaiju. But they're all right, you know. Kaijus are all right, I think, in this format. I think you're going to see it in some places, especially if Kashtira remains popular, which is something that remains to be seen. From my mind, it's hard to predict how popular Kashtira is going to be because I'm personally not considering it, but I think a lot of people still are. So we'll see about that. Kurikara, on the other hand, I think is still a very good card. Now, whether you want a main deck or side deck Kurikara is up to each on their own. I think the card is still very good. Simply because it's against Kashtira, it's as good as ever, but against other decks, I think it's significantly better than a Kaiju. Like, for example, if you look at Kurikara against Sprite decks, it's so much better because you just play into their board, you bait some of their stuff, you tribute their shit, and Sprite just doesn't really have the follow-up anymore. It's not great against Branded and Labyrinth, to be fair. So maybe it's more like a top of the situational category where like maybe you side deck it if you want to respect decks like Branded or Labyrinth a little bit more. But Kurikara is definitely, I think, up there in terms of tech choices for this format. You know, it's like, it's really good against some decks, and then against other decks, it's only okay. There's only very few decks where it's completely horrendous. Like, even against Labyrinth, you know, you can resolve it, right? Because they will summon the Lady Labyrinth and the Lovely Labyrinth, use their effects, and if you have Kurikara, you just summon it, tribute both. Their thing is not your main goal to have Kurikara in your deck against Labyrinth, but you can use it, right? It's not like a dead card. The same against Branded, right? Sometimes it can help you out a Mirror Jade and kill them if they don't go for like a lock on you or something. So, you know, it's interesting. Sphere Mode and Lava Golem, honestly, I think are losing a lot of appeal right now, at least in my mind, because I'm like, those cards were typically used to counter the greedy Kashtira players and also some of the combo piles. Now, both of those things don't really exist anymore, right? Because Kashtira can't really go greedy anymore without Diablosis. There's no combo line really that plays into these guys. I think most of the time they're just going to go a Rise Hard Pass. So I think I'm throwing these into this category. I don't know if now is the time for these cards. I really don't know if I would recommend you guys playing these cards right now. I am not sure. We have Encore and Herald of the Abyss here. Both of those cards are bad. Those were both similar to Santa Claus. Both of those cards only really saw play because of Purely being a thing. Now that Purely isn't really a thing anymore, those cards lose a lot of their appeal. So there's that. Book of Moon and Book of Eclipse, I think, are still cards that you can consider. I don't think they're particularly great because, quite frankly, I just think there's going to be less Kashtira. And Kashtira was the main reason for these cards, I think. So, the one advantage that Book of Moon and Book of Eclipse have, the one big deal about these cards is that they work when you draw them when you go first. That's a big deal about board breakers. Usually, you look at 90% of these cards, they are bad when you go first, right? And a lot of decks are taking this trade-off. A lot of decks are taking the trade-off of, hey, this card is bad when I go first, but it's really good when I go second, right? Because of how impactful board breakers can be when you go second. The thing is, Book of Moon and Book of Eclipse don't have that. They are playable and useful and good when you go first. So that's a big selling point for books, in my opinion. However, going second, I think they are much worse than other options. So there's that. Unless you're playing against Kashtira, of course. Then they're pretty good. Chalice, I don't even know why this is here. It's not bad, but I don't love it. I don't love it as much right now. It's like, yeah, this was like a very short time in the light for Forbidden Chalice where it saw play during Kashtira format because people thought it was a lot like Zodiac format. And like one-on-one effect negation was kind of handy going first and second. It still is like that, but I don't know if I like Forbidden Chalice enough, really. Change of Heart, I think, is pretty good overall. I don't think you're gonna main deck Change of Heart because there's just some matchups where it's not great. Like against Branded, if they go for a puppet lock, Change of Heart is completely dead. Against Labyrinth, I don't think Change of Heart is that great, but it's a good card in like specifically against Kashtira. Now that you cannot go for a back row zone lock anymore. In deck building, you have to not be afraid of that at all. You don't have to care about them locking your back row at all anymore without Diablosis. So you can now be sure that all of your spell cards will resolve against Kashtira. Unless they have Forbidden Lands, you beat the Arise Heart with a single Change of Heart, Mind Control, Talents, those kind of cards. You will beat the Arise Heart with those, right? Which makes this card a lot better, I think, a lot safer. So I like this card as an option. Board Destruction is mid, I want to say. I don't really see a matchup where you would rather have these cards over other cards. I don't think they're bad, but that's why I'm not putting them into the bad category. But I don't think they're good enough to call them decent. I don't think they're good enough to call them decent. They're okay. Forbidden Droplet, I think, is currently not that big of a deal, not that hot of a card, simply because decks, it's really, it goes to show that we're currently not really have I don't think we're not in a very toxic environment right now where people aren't really making the most insane, crazy auto win boards, which is where normally cards like Droplet would really be necessary. Right now, we don't really have that. Specifically, Kashtira Arise Heart, while it's maybe not the top one deck anymore, it's still going to be a thing. So you always have to take that into consideration. I think at maximum, Droplet would be a side deck card. But even at that, I think it's relatively mediocre. So I don't know if maybe you play Droplet in some matchups for specific matchups as well. But yeah. Enemy Controller is decent. If your deck has synergy with it, you can play it, I think. It's once again another card that has this cool side effect where it's not completely dead when you go first. Right? You can still take your opponent's stuff when you go first. You can maybe even sometimes something as simple as preventing your opponent from attacking by switching something to defense can matter when you go first. I've had games where that mattered. So I think Enemy Controller is a decent card. And now we're getting into some heavy hitters. Evenly Matched is as good as ever. Gets a lot better with this last ban list. If anyone remembers YCS London format, Evenly Matched was very popular. The card is quite frankly just crazy right now because decks just don't make hard negates most of the time. And the only reason why this card wasn't insanely popular in the last couple weeks was because Super Heavy Samurai made a bunch of Omni negates. And Super Heavy Samurai is, by all intents and purposes, either gone or a lot weaker and a lot less popular than it was before the ban list. Which I think means that Evenly Matched is back. Evenly Matched just is back, you know? Like, that card is just here to stay. I think people are going to main deck Evenly, depending on the deck. Some decks maybe not. Some decks maybe will. I don't know. Most of the current top decks are weak to it. It's worth noting that if your deck really struggles against a Rise Heart, it might not be the best choice for you because, of course, if you activate Evenly against a Rise Heart, against Kashtira, they will keep the Arise Heart. They will banish everything else, right? So if your deck typically loses to the Arise Heart, then you might not want to play Evenly. But if your deck typically loses to, like, if your deck can play against Arise Heart, but typically loses to, like, Birth follow-up, Preparation follow-up, Lance, Book, those type of cards, the Field Spell maybe even, you know, if you lose to the rest, then Evenly is the card for you, you know? Won't Runic decks always go for Carrot? Runic Sprite is the one exception where they will have a way to negate the card, but sometimes you can bait the Carrot by, like, imperming it. Yeah, there's ways, right? There's ways to resolve the Evenly against Runic decks as well. It's just a very solid card, you know? Honestly, yeah, people in chat are right. I don't understand why they semi-limited Lightning Storm out of all cards when Evenly was the far more popular card. But anyways, here we are. Evenly still very good. Fenrir is another card that I think is... I think Fenrir is a great card. And this is outside of Kashtira, of course. I mean, of course, you're going to play this card in Kashtira. But like in other decks, I think Fenrir is just solid, you know? Solid, very good card. Some decks want to play it, some decks don't want to play it, but I think it's pretty good, you know? It's just... You can't go wrong with Fenrir. What I like about it most is that, first of all, when you go first, you can use it, which is one big advantage over other cards. But I think Fenrir is great. I think a lot of decks are going to want to play Fenrir. Because it's good going first, good going second, outs certain cards. It forces a Rise Heart on its own, which is something that not all the cards here do. Which is great. Mind Control, I think, is a lot worse than Change of Heart. Because, like, you can't attack, of course, and that's a big deal, I think, because cards like Zeus exist. And that's, I think, a big downside for Mind Control. It's still good in some decks. So I think Mind Control is alright. I don't think it's anything out of the ordinary though. It's alright. Pankratops. I think Pankratops is decent. I don't think you're gonna main deck Pankratops at all, but it's like one of those cards where if you're really worried about Floodgates and you just want one more overall solid card, I think Pankratops could be it. You know, I mean, it's like, it's good against Sprite just because it's big. It's good against Floodgate decks because it outs all the Floodgates, including Skill Drain. I can see myself siding the Pankratops again in this format. I can see myself. It's not bad, you know. Like there's a couple decks in the format where I'm worried about Floodgates. You know, it's good against Sprite. I think it's all right. What about Alpha? I've given up on Alpha, dude. I don't know. I've given up on Alpha. I've been a big fan of Alpha as a card in theory, but it's just never performed. So I've taken out Alpha from the tier list. I don't know. Alpha is, yeah. I think Alpha is incredibly cool, but it's just never really turns up when you need it. Super Poly. Hard to evaluate without knowing exactly which the best decks are and what boards they make. Like, for example, this card has the potential to be pretty good against Branded, depending on what board they make. This card has the potential to be really good against Sprite too, depending on what board they make. This card is like interesting because you can even use it against Labyrinth sometimes. Like, there's even fringe scenarios where you can out a Floodgate against Labyrinth by super polying your own card. Like, you can make, for example, you can make a Zeus, summon another light monster, activate Zeus, then super poly into Mud Dragon. So the Zeus resolves, stuff like that. I think super poly is a situational card, but it could pop up again in this format depending on what people do with their boards. It's worth noting that it's going to be pretty bad against Kashtira, I think, because Kashtira, the only way Kashtira ever played into Super Poly was Diablosis. I feel like I don't really see them playing into Super Poly a lot this format, but maybe you can side deck it for certain matchups. Dark Ruler no more. I think is another one of those cards that was pretty good in this current format before the ban list dropped, but that was also, I think, because of Super Heavy Samurai mostly. I think it's a little bit situational for my liking. Like, it negates the board, but it doesn't break the board, which is a big problem in a lot of decks. Like, for example, Runic decks have a big problem outing the board after Dark Ruler. Sprite decks in general, not just Runic Sprite, don't really like having to kill 3 or 4 bodies because sprites are all small little, weaklings, and that's not great. So I think if your deck is very good at removing stuff off of the field, then Dark Ruler is okay. But in some decks, like Sprite, like Runic, I don't love the card. I think it's okay in something like Branded, where you can just go second, Dark Ruler them, start playing, and then you just Mirror Jade one thing, Guardian Chimera some other things. Like, I think that in those decks it's fine. So I'm gonna throw it in situational. Ultimate Slayer. Oh, I love this card, dude. I love this card. It's just always, it's so close. It's so close to being playable. I think it's decent, actually. I've played it in Labyrinth last format, and I think Labyrinth is one of the decks that could realistically play this card, because it is pretty alright in any matchup that isn't Kashtira. It's pretty good against Sprite. It's pretty good against Branded, especially if you're playing a deck like Labyrinth that doesn't care about being puppet locked. Like, Branded will not go for the puppet lock against Labyrinth, because that's just, it's stupid. Why would you do that? So in those matchups, you can just like Ultimate Slayer their board away, and that's pretty cool. And you maybe even prevent Guardian Chimera by sending, like, you can like Slayer, send Entis, out Mirror Jade, pop the Branded in red before they can Guardian Chimera you. It's pretty nice. Yeah, so it's not good in every deck. It's not good against every deck, but it's got some potential, I think. Talents is a very good card still. I mean, going second, it's going to be great. Going first, it's going to be useful a lot of the time. Like, a lot of people are going to be playing at least Ash Blossom. At least Ash is a hand trap that's going to be in a lot of decks, right? Even if other hand traps aren't as popular, that card is going to be popular. So I think Talents is going to be great going second. Mainly, Kashtira can't lock your back row anymore, so Talents is pretty much always going to tear their board apart. I think Talents is very good. I think we're going to look at a lot of main deck Talents this format. Card is great. Thrust, I'm not as big of a fan of, but I'm still going to throw it in situational because it can be very solid, specifically when you go second. Going first, I don't have that much faith in Thrust than Talents, because it's a lot easier to make Talents life when you go first than it is to make Thrust life. And going second, Thrust, honestly, most of the time, it's probably going to grab Talents. So, like, Talents is just the better card. Thrust can grab cards like Thuster or Evenly, so I think sometimes it's better, but most of the time, I think Talents is the more consistently powerful card. I still wouldn't surprise to see some amount of Thrust, especially in some decks that can set a reasonable trap card when they go first, right? That's my one big issue with Thrust, is when I go first and my opponent ashes me, they don't have a monster, right? What do I do with Thrust? Does my deck have a great way to use it or not? If yes, then maybe I use it, right? But I don't know. I'm always more inclined to play Talents than Thrust, but Thrust is still a good card. Imperm is like something you can set, right? You can set Imperm off of Thrust, but that's just not high impact, right? That's not great. And you're not going to main deck Dimensional Barrier just for the chance of... You have to go first, which is a 50-50. You have to open Thrust, which is not that high of a chance, depending on how many you run. Your opponent has to have a hand trap, and then you need to set your D-barrier, and then the D-barrier needs to be good. It's just a lot of ifs, a very low chance that that actually is worth it. You don't really want to play a card like D-barrier in your main deck for Thrust. You don't really want to do that. All right, and that's my opinion on the most important tech cards for the upcoming format. If I've missed any card that you are interested in, feel free to let me know in the comments down below, and I'll try to answer your questions. Until then, keep in mind this is a first impression of the format, only a first, so take it with a grain of salt, but I hope this was helpful for your preparations for upcoming events. I hope you enjoyed watching. If you did, make sure to subscribe to the channel and like the video, and thank you for watching. See you guys next time. Bye-bye. Say goodbye to YouTube, chat. Peace. All right. Whee. Okay, we need to get some of these notifications out of the way. As well as, I don't know who did it. But we did hit a sub goal. So Wake Up Your Elemental Hero, thank you for the Prime. Released Fox, thank you for the Prime. D-Boss, thank you for the Prime. And Gitcoin, thank you for the Prime as well. A lot of Primes, makes me very happy. A lot of first-time Primers as well. Welcome, thank you for the support. Appreciate you. We have hit a sub goal, and you know what that means over here. Hold up, let me find it. It is Pepe D time, yeah, hell yeah. Okay, there we go. Can you show the other tier list? Okay. You should subscribe to the YouTube to not miss the tier list, but I'm still going to show you. I'm not going to be like that. There it is. Why is Skullmeister bad? Well, tell me why Skullmeister is good. I don't see a reason why Skullmeister would be playable. Ooh, yeah, right. The new card. The new card that was released today. We need to look at. Hold up. Light the Signal of Destruction with Bonfire. I wonder if we'll get a non-volcanic pyro deck soon. Normal spell card. You can only activate one card with this card's name once per turn. Add a level 4 or lower pyro monster from your deck to your hand. Holy shit. They made Rhoda for pyros. They just made Rhoda for pyro. Is this the first time they've made a Rhoda for another type? I can't think of another typing that has a Rhoda. There's like archetypes that have Rhodas. Oh, Fossil Dig, right? Fossil Dig. Fossil Dig's even better than Rhoda. Tanky is not technically the same because Tanky dies to removal. And Cyber's, the Cynet mining needs a discard. That's not the same. I mean, like, archetype searchers are nothing new, of course. I know archetype searchers exist, but just a normal spell card that adds anything from the type. There's only Fossil Dig and Rhoda that I can think of. Interesting that they chose to give it to Pyro next. I don't know how much that changes about the volcanic archetype, because we've looked at the volcanic archetype in the past and it seemed like it was okay-ish. Isn't Tanky hard once per turn? Yeah, it's not quite the same. Like, this one is also hard once per turn, which is not the same, but we can play 6 Ash. Ash is a zombie. Ash is not a pyro. It's not fire, it's pyro. We need a Dragon Rhoda. I think there's other things that we need in this game. I don't think Dragon Rhoda is one of those. I'm not sure how I feel about Rhodas in general. I think it's weird. It's an interesting topic for sure of whether cards like this are good for the game or not. Because my point is that generic searchers, I think, can be considered difficult when it comes to game design, because there's a good reason why we have the limit of 3 cards per deck, right? Like, I think it can become problematic when cards become too searchable, too accessible. There's arguments for both sides of the coin, but it's like the entire game is based around and designed around the fact that you can only play 3 of each card, right? And making it so you have searchers, very generic searchers for this, for any given card, makes it so that now instead of playing 3 copies of a certain card, you can play 6 copies of a certain card. You know what I mean? And I think that's a weird thing to design around. On the other hand, what you might say now, and which is also a very reasonable point, is that if at any point in time this card can search something that is a problem, right? Then it's usually not the searcher that's a problem. It's usually the card that it searches. Like, for example, if there's a super busted Pyro card, let's call it Pyro Circular. I just made that up. Let's call it Pyro Circular. You know, like, there's a super busted card that, like, the entire deck is completely unfair if it finds that card, but if it doesn't find that card, then it's then it's completely dead. And like, in that scenario, is the Rhoda the problem, or is the card that it searches the problem? You know what I mean? And I think you could argue that searchers are healthy as long as the cards that they can find are not that problematic, right? I'd argue both. I think the reality is it's somewhere in between, right? It's somewhere in between where there's a good reason why we can only play each card at 3, right? That's what they intended to do, right? On the other hand, there shouldn't be cards like that just are way too important for a strategy to work, right? I think that's another design flaw, is if they make a deck that only works with one specific card and only with that card, you know? That's why specifically I like archetype searchers a lot, because archetype searchers very often aren't used to just find one specific card. They are used to find different cards depending on the situation, and that's a good thing, right? The fact that you can activate a card like, I don't know, Salamangrate Circle or whatever, usually it'll find Gazelle if you don't have it yet, but in a lot of cases you have to choose between which other card you want, right? And it can facilitate different kind of plays, right? You can find Spinny, you can find Jaguar, you can find Falco, sometimes you find Foxy if you want to get rid of like a face-up spell and trap or something like that. It can really facilitate a lot of like variety in your playstyle, and decision making as well, right? Where like, yeah. Do you think Small World is well designed? No, I don't have an issue with Small World per se. We've talked about this like literally 2 hours ago, but it's fine. My issue with Small World in that context is that Small World is a searcher for any monster in the game, which by itself is already something that sounds a little bit problematic. The card is a -1 searcher, which makes it usually not very good. And I don't like... The thing is, I don't think Small World is a bad card. But the fact that it's a -1 searcher usually ends up being... I mean, you just have to look at the decks that play Small World. Usually it's exactly those types of decks that desperately need to find one specific monster, right? Because their deck is completely busted when they find that monster. but it's not very good if they don't find that monster. And this is not specifically, this is not Mathmech hate. We're literally, I'm genuinely just talking about Small World. There's a lot of other decks like that. You know, there's been Oviraptor combo piles that did it exactly like this. There's been Vanquish Soul is now doing it a little bit. There's been other decks like that played Small World, and I've never ever, like, it's been done with like the Adventure engine, because some of those kitchen sink synchro Adventure Hulk piles, they couldn't play if they didn't find the adventure cards, stuff like that. And I think it's like, even though Small World can only ever be as broken as the cards that it fetches, like in all those examples, you could argue it's not Small World that's the problem, it's these other decks or the cards that it finds that are the problem. I think the fact that Small World facilitates all of that is not the greatest form of card design, right? When you make a card where the purpose of the card is basically making broken combos more consistent, because you would never use it for other use cases, you would never use Small World to find a fair card, because Small World is a -1 and situational. Like, it's just like no good consistent deck uses Small World, because it's not good to search a monster at a -1. Like, it's not good. You only use the -1 spell card searcher when your deck, the card that you search, has to be insane to make up for it, right? I think that's the way to put it. I don't hate Small World, I just don't like what it facilitates. Because a lot of the time, the decks that use Small World, they only use Small World because without Small World, they wouldn't be as consistent, right? And that's usually the downside of these types of decks that are like super broken when you draw one specific card, is like, hey, my deck is super reliant on that one card. So if I choose to play that deck, I have to accept the fact that I'm going to lose if I don't find it. And Small World mitigates that downside, right? And I think those cards should have that downside. I think decks like that really need one card should be inconsistent, and Small World makes them less consistent. I don't like that. I think that it's taking away a drawback off of some of these decks that it should have. Isn't this Small World argument, doesn't it also apply to the likes of Signet Mining and Branded Opening? Kind of, right? It's like with Small World, it's a little bit more apparent because it goes into theoretically every single deck. Signet Mining only goes into Cyber's decks, but there it does functionally the same thing. The only exception to Signet Mining is that it discards to the graveyard, which has its use cases in, for example, Salamangrate, where you can mitigate the discard, you know? And with what was the other example that you mentioned? Hold up. Branded Opening. Oh yeah, Branded Opening is another card that really isn't great if it doesn't fetch you Branded Fusion, right? It's another one. You could argue that Branded is a deck that completely revolves about Branded Fusion, and that's kind of not... I don't like that type of design. Once again, I like Branded as a deck. I wish it was playable without needing Branded Fusion every single time to resolve, right? I would like to be able to play Branded in a way where you don't need Branded Fusion to resolve, right? I think that'd be a much more healthy design. It is a little bit different now with Quem. It is different, but the fact that Branded Opening for over a year now, pretty much, has only been Branded Opening has only been a tutor for Branded Fusion. Literally, that's what it did, right? And then if they negated your Branded Fusion, your deck didn't do shit, right? And that, I don't think that was the greatest design. We kind of make it so we need it by building the deck around it. We can probably structure it in a way you don't need branded fusion. I don't think that's possible. If you could make branded, trust me, if you could build branded in a way where it would be really good even without relying on branded fusion, I think people would do that because people are tired of losing to Ash Blossom. It's just that that's not how the deck works, you know? How good is Ibli this format? I don't think it's going to be that great because, quite frankly, without Diablosis going around, I think a lot of decks can theoretically spend one extra deck slot for the Lingaribo. If Ibli ever becomes popular, I think people just play an out for it. It's not that hard. Isn't Branded good this format? No, it's fine. It's fine. Branded is a fine deck. I don't think it's tier 1, but it's alright. But yeah, generally, I think it's an interesting topic to talk about whether searchers like this should be in the game or not. We've had the same discussion with terraforming as well, because, you know, it's like whenever there's a good field spell, there's not only 3 copies of the field spell. There's like 4, because terraforming is still at 1, right? And whenever they design a field spell, they have to keep that in mind. And it feels like sometimes they don't. Sometimes they don't. What do you think of this question? Hold up, I didn't see that one. How do you feel about link ones that search the deck's necessary field spell like Dark Infant and Balings? The link ones is a difficult topic. I'm not a big fan of link ones. I also don't love the dynamic, specifically because you mentioned Salamangrate Sanctuary. Okay, technically I don't hate the idea of giving your deck a link one that searches a card. That can be executed well if they do it right. For example, I think the Vanquish Soul link one is kind of cool. Right? For Salamangrate specifically, there's one thing that I really didn't like in terms of game design, and that is that they made you play a card that normally you wouldn't really play it because it was just bad, which is Sanctuary. Right? Sanctuary, and that introduced a lot of variance into Salamangrate, where if I got unlucky and I opened Sanctuary, I would still make Balings, but I simply didn't get the search, which would mean that I have one less card for no reason. So in those cases, I would have really liked if I really like it when they give us effects that mitigate these drawbacks of drawing the certain card. Like there's been cards that, like, maybe they could have given us an effect on Sanctuary where we can put itself back into the deck somehow, right? I don't know how exactly you would do it. Or, like, give us a reason to play 2, right? Give us a reason to play 2 Sanctuaries. Like, for example, give us another, I made up in my head right now. If you control, like, give Sanctuary another effect where, like, if you control Salamangrate Sanctuary, you can discard this card to draw a card. For example. So that way, you can play 2 Sanctuaries. If you draw 1, you search another one with Balings, and then you can make use of it. I think that would have been an interesting way to design it. Of course, it would have made the card strictly better, and Salamangrate was already good as it is, so I don't know if it was a good idea or not. But I don't like when they make one of cards that you get for free, and when you draw them, it just feels bad. I don't like that. I don't like that concept. I just don't think that's great. I think it's a lot of these issues can be solved with just good game design, I think. The problem is there are so many of these cards. Field spells are usually bricks if you draw more than one, and field spell searchers make the one field spell a brick, but also makes the link 1 and choke point index on it. It's questionable design. It is questionable design. I think that's what it comes down to. Make Phantasme great again. Oh, Phantasme was one of the most beautiful cards for scenarios like this, because it was just like a generic hand fix that that was good enough to. I loved Phantasme. There's only very few cards that I think are as well designed as Phantasme. I hope, I genuinely hope that that we get another card like Phantasme at some point. Like, dude, I miss Phantasme. That card was so good in terms of design, like for the game. It was just great. When was the last time Phantasme was good? 2019. Toss format, pretty much. It was stupid expensive. I mean, that's a whole nother that's a whole nother question of like, or like a whole nother topic of how they rarity distribution and whatnot, you know. Remember when Phantasme was an 80 euro card? Yeah, I remember. I remember. It was worth every cent though. It was worth every bit of those 80 bucks. To be fair, multiple field spells used to have reasons when removal was more prevalent and only one field spell was allowed on the field at a time. Yeah, but times change. These days, most field spells are once per turn, and if you draw two, the second one is a strictly dead card in your deck, in your hand. And all you can do is hope you can keep it for turn 2 for follow-up. Bring back old field spell rulings. Would that be better? Would old field spell rulings be better? I'm not sure. One thing that I would like about it, there's one thing that I would like about it. In like one generic statement you can make, I think, about that would be that it would make going second in general a little bit stronger. Right? Because most decks have some field spell, so you can like just, if your opponent starts with, I don't know, Pearl or Rhino, you can out that going second for free. So in general, going second would be a little bit better. Why are we not playing Phantasme anymore? Well, because there's a bunch of decks that don't link summon, right? There's like, you have to understand that when Phantasme was a really good card, it was during the last Master Rule where links were kind of mandatory for every deck, right? And also, most of the top decks at the time did link summon, like the Sky Striker, Salamangreat, Orcust, and Thunder Dragon. All of those 4 decks link summoned. The only deck that I can think of that didn't link summon in that format was Draco, and that wasn't even that good. So the meta decks all link summoned, right? And so Phantasme basically was never dead. Phantasme was always live. Phantasme, and like the cool thing about Phantasme was it didn't actually stop your opponent from playing. It wasn't actually like oppressive or anything. All it did was make your hand better, right? And so it gave you a free beat stick, and it made your hand a little bit better for going second. So it was the design on Phantasme, it's beautiful. Now you have time to watch the first place. Dude, I don't want to watch the first place Slovenian Nats deck profile. It's not about having time. I don't want to watch it. It's Super Heavy Samurai. Why do you want me to watch a Super Heavy Samurai deck profile so badly? It's Super Heavy Samurai. I'm not interested in it. I don't want it. The top 8 Vanquish Soul deck is nice. Okay. We can watch the Vanquish Soul deck. Yes. Yeah, we can do that. Would a Phantasme that works with every extra deck monster be too busted? It would probably be busted, but I would like it. Busted does not always mean bad. Okay, we'll watch the Vanquish Soul deck.
What's up, guys? We're here with Vicky and Kajetan, masterminds of a crazy deck that just got top 8 at our Slovenia Nationals. So guys, what did you cook up?
So I decided to take Vanquish Soul because it was new and I feel like the deck isn't that bad.
You know, it's like, you know, people are coping when you start the deck profile with it. Guys, it's not that bad. Trust me.
But yeah, nobody knew what was happening, so I would say that's a pretty big point.
So it was basically a surprise factor.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get into it.
So first off, Triple Raisin. This is your starter and bread of the butter deck. It searches for a monster.
Hey, yo, you're rich.
Shout out to Haris for landing everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
Starter, and then Triple Madlove. We were debating 2 on this because it doesn't do anything on its own, but it's a dark, so it helps.
Yeah, I think the problem is that this card doesn't actually access your Vanquish Soul engine.
Yeah. It
You
doesn't
can
do
just
anything on
use
its
your
own.
spells and you're gonna run out of steam eventually.
Okay.
2 Burger. This card is probably my favorite card in the deck, so we decided to play 2. I was thinking of 3, but we couldn't find space in the deck. But yeah, once this card gets going, you're
I think you
drawing
play 3.
1 every turn. His turn, your turn, draw,
Nice.
draw. So yeah, good card. 1 Pantera, because you need a searchable Earth, but it's also a spell and trap pop, which isn't bad.
Oh no. Oh no. The 4 AM tech.
The 4 AM tech, it came up in testing that if you only opened Raisin and had some weird combo, you didn't have a fire for the second effect of to pop. So we decided to just try him out, and he was actually really good, except in Top Cut where he bricked me the game. So
Feels bad.
what can I do? But yeah, we'll see if we'll play him in the future, because
I think it's alright to
problem
play it,
is
just
you
because
don't
you need
have,
the attribute. I feel
that
like
many
I think you
fires.
need it.
and this really helps because it's just searchable. Otherwise, you're hoping to open Kurikara and Ash. And if Kurikara is gonna fall off, then you're not gonna have that many fires at all. So we'll probably end up keeping him.
Right, they have to make Pluto so
And then,
useless. It's really, it's infuriating. It's infuriating how bad the other fire is. Like, the deck would be so much more consistent if you could play 3 of the other fire, because it would be a good card, you know? Like, that'd be so much better. Bro, what the hell was that? What the hell was that? Could you even see the freaking... You could see the freaking OBS crash thingy on stream, right? How the hell is that even possible? Can someone explain that shit to me? Why could you see the freaking pop-up that said OBS has crashed on stream? Why was it still working until I clicked something on that freaking pop-up? What the hell was even that? What the hell was that? Oh, man. Anyways. Well, everyone reload. Everyone reload. All right, well, we keep watching.
It's not one card combo because you need to open an attribute, but as long as you open a fire or a dark, yeah, it's fine. Yeah. And then one.
What happened? OBS just crashed. I don't know why. I got a pop up that said OBS has crashed. Congratulations, your stream is now dead. Okay.
And one reborn.
Okay.
This was a 2 for a while, but it kind of bricks if you draw it, so you want to search him, so I'll just keep it at 1.
The sponsor, the rich Bosnian man.
Not rich anymore.
Going second card, Triple Ash. As low impact as it is, it does cover a lot of matchups, so I decided to, and it's a fire. That's the main thing. Yeah. That's the main thing in this deck. So you kind of need it.
Ooh, shifter.
Triple shifter. Ooh. This was draw for the longest time, but we decided to change it last second because
in 4 a.m.
4 a.m. testing special. It's a dark, and it helps you play around draw because if you shotgun it, it's usually gonna bait either gamma, or then you can do your full combo without being draw. And this deck isn't really hurt by draw. You can even go raise and link, raise and add, and then you shifter. You don't have to shotgun shifter.
Okay.
Triple Nibiru, we just wanted some high impact stuff. This is the only card that doesn't really have much synergy. I think this is the only card that has really bad small world bridges because all the other stuff is super searchable. There's a cute play with Madlove where you can bounce it back to hand to recycle it. And then 2 Kurikara and 1 Dogra.
But you can go stake, reveal shifter, and then change shifter because it's cost. Yeah, that's insane. Well, I mean, you're summoning a dark, so you're not summoning Raisin, but like, you can do that, yeah. And they're playing the Fire Kaiju. I found that odd in the other list. Why would you play the Earth Kaiju? That confused me in the other deck. I don't know. Like, why not the Fire?
Also be triple Kurikara, but there's some small world lines where this doesn't work because it has 1500 defense. So, and I feel like the Kaiju was super nice. And then also another God card, Invest Engine, Triple Fenrir. This card is...
I love this. I think this is great.
Just wins games on its own somehow.
I even think it's worth maybe playing more of the field spell, like the Cash Tira field spell, just to always have this shit. It seems so good.
But then you also have Rise.
Thank you, Sergio. Appreciate the 2 months. Welcome back.
To search if you need a fire.
Your Edison quick draw deck is everywhere right now in DB. Well, it better be. It's hella fun.
And funnily enough, I'll explain later. It comes up in.
What if you remove all the Vanquish sold cards and replace them with cash cards? Well, you're probably left with a better and cheaper deck. But don't tell anyone about that. Okay, that's not what we're. No narcs. Okay, no narcs.
Your matchup. And then just consistency stuff. This is another Raisin. Triple Prosperity. Sometimes it conflicts with Burger, but you really have to see what you have in your hand to decide what you're going to go for. And then another God card of the deck. This is basically any card in the deck because that's just how the archetype is. Everything is like super bridgeable with Small World.
Yeah, the best card in the deck.
And the best card in the deck.
No.
As I said, this card and Fenrir is basically wins games on its own, even if you brick.
Even going second.
Even going second, yeah. If you can kind of hand trap them and stuff and set up Peekaboo, you just end up winning because this card doesn't hurt you at all. There's only if you have Nibiru, you can't go into him because he's rock.
It's time to main Cosmic again. Cosmic is probably okay in this format, but it's gonna suck against Branded. That's like the one matchup where it's really bad. It's gonna be good against Runic. It's gonna be good against Labyrinth. It's gonna be okay against Vanquish Soul. Okay against Kashtira. It's just bad against branded, I think. It's okay against branded going second? I don't think it is, right? I mean, like, forcing branded in red is fine. You're assuming they're not going for the gimmick puppet lock. In that case, it's okay. But, yeah.
And that's it. There's basically no
Good versus Sky too? I mean, if you think that matters, sure.
other interaction with this card. So it's super free. And yeah, once you have this setup and you're just starting to draw cards with Burger every turn, it snowballs super quick.
Ebrenner and Capablanca, thank you guys for the primes. Appreciate the support a lot. Thank you.
So yeah, probably actually the best card in the deck.
Nice.
For the extra deck, Triple Link. This is pretty much the only thing you need in the extra deck. But we did play some other stuff. Zeus and Zeus.
The package.
Zeus and Zeus to go into Zeus. Didn't come up. Mostly it's Prosperity fodder. Baguska could come up. I think it did come up once. It's pretty easy to make.
What do you think about Prosperity versus TTT in this deck? Yeah, it seems like you need to play Prosperity because, yes, you don't draw a card off of Heavy Burger on turn 1 if you use Prosperity. Raisin is just too important. Raisin is just too important to find, so you kind of need to play Prosperity, I feel like. Yeah, that's pretty much it. It's like, yeah, you can still play TTT. I mean, there's no rule that you can't play TTT and Prosperity together, but I think Prosperity feels like a necessity.
Actually, also because you have.
I think you can maybe you can. We've tried building a deck without Prosperity last time we talked about this deck. I built a deck with the, I don't know what the card is called, but there is a Noble Knight equip spell, Durandal, that's the one, that you can, it's an equip spell that you can send to the graveyard to search a fire warrior. I think level 5 or lower or something. So it basically just searches, it searches Raisin. And I built a version of the deck that plays Fenrir and the field spell for Kashtira. Because if you draw Fenrir, you can just special it, and then you can equip it with the equip spell and then search Raisin. The only problem of the equip spell is that you can't, you need a monster on the board for it, right? You need a monster on the board for the equip spell, so it doesn't work if you have to, like, you have to normal summon for it, and that's kind of bad. So I thought that maybe with more Kashtira cards, you can just summon Fenrir a lot more consistently and equip it with the equip spell to find Raisin, and then maybe in that version you don't need Prosperity. But I'm not sure if that quite works out. You know, you can equip it to opponents, as far as I think so. Yeah, I think you can equip it to just opponents' monsters if you go second. So going second, it's actually quite okay. But yeah, you can, yeah.
Your Fenrir? Phoenix and Cerberus. This is the only two that really came up because Roth.
At the same time, any Vanquish Soul normal summon can search Raisin and then Raisin summons itself. Wait, what do you mean by that? I think you're heavily chatting. What do you mean? Any Vanquish Soul normal summon can search Raisin and Raisin summons itself? I don't think that's how it works. If you play the... Okay, so what you mean is... Okay, so basically you made two statements and both of those statements were wrong. Because you normal summon a Vanquish Soul, you search Raisin with the equip spell, and then you don't summon Raisin. Raisin doesn't summon itself, you summon it with the Link monster. Is that what you mean? Which, if that's what you mean, you just phrased that very poorly, but that is technically correct, yes. The problem with that is that you have to use your Link effect on that and your normal summon, but it technically does work. I think at the end of the day, honestly, the equip spell is okay. I think the equip spell is playable. I don't think you should completely discard the idea of playing that card. I think that card is decent.
Yeah, you need removal and rock is points down, so it's really easy to get the
Colin.
I wasn't here at the time, but what's your thoughts on Vanquish Soul after this weekend's results? I think it still is the same situation as I said before. I think it didn't change much about my opinion. I think the deck is good. I don't think the deck is top tier. I think it can top tournaments, as we've seen. But I don't think it's worth the money that it will cost, because it is like a $300 core or whatever for the thing, and you probably get better decks for less money. That's my take. So only get yourself the Vanquish Soul deck if you really want to play that deck because you like that deck, right? Don't get it because you think it's good, because it's not like a miracle. It's not a miracle meta call, I think. I think it's just all right. I think it's playable, but not more than that. Your bang for your buck is not great.
Link and an extra draw from that. And then we basically have Cherry's Targets, Scarecrow, Noir. The play was
if it gets good support in the next support round, the price will get higher. Yes, but if it doesn't, then long term you're probably losing a lot of money because it's a lot of ultra rares. Either way, investing in it is in that sense gambling. That's not the reason to invest in it, because if it, like, I'll tell you what happens if it doesn't get good support, you know, because it's what's going to happen is it's going to be okay in the next couple weeks, maybe months. And then if it doesn't get good support, it'll fall off. And then you've spent $300 for a deck that won't be playable in a couple months at all. And it's never been meta, right? It's never been tier 1 until that point, I don't think. So
no Mad Mix, so Gigantic and a Rise card, which, funnily enough, you can make in the Kastir matchup when he goes Shangri-La, yeah.
Nice.
It did come up, actually.
So did you cherries anyone?
Yeah, but it wasn't really relevant, so I don't think I would play it going forward. But
these deck building sets don't get much future support, I heard. I mean, they do usually get support a little bit, but first of all, they don't get that much. They get like one wave of support typically, maybe two. Like, look at Purely. Purely only got 3 cards. Purely only got 3 cards. Rescue Ace got like 2 or 3 as well. 4? Which 4? Purely got Pure Lily, Sleepy Memory, the new rank 2. Oh, they get another trap card. True, I forgot the trap card. I forgot the trap card, yeah.
I'll have to see.
Okay.
Side deck, Feather Duster, and Triple Evenly. This is my spell and trap removal, but evenly, you know, it's versatile, so it helps against Kashtira and stuff. 2 anti-spell, some more going first stuff. This is the only going first card, I think, that I played in the side deck. We put Droll in the side because it doesn't really do much against Kashtira. We risked Shifter in the main because it was just there against everything else, and you take the L in the Kashtira matchup. So this is in the side. Diddy Crow, this was also a last second edition and it was super nice.
Okay.
It helps against super heavy.
It's the same versus everything except
Kashtira again, yeah. So that's why it's in the side. It's also a Dark which comes up. And then Reaper.
Yeah,
didn't really side much. It's kind of underperformed, I would say, so.
Yeah, I don't love Reaper. Crow is, I think, new format. Crow is going to be replaced by Bystials because super heavy is not going to be a thing.
Probably gonna
I don't
open
think
some
it's
extra,
gonna be a thing. I mean,
extra
I
deck
don't know.
spaces.
People in chat can tell me
Okay.
otherwise if they think
So,
super heavy is still a thing, but honestly, I
were you-
personally have not heard of. I haven't heard of anyone who is seriously planning to play super heavy samurai in this upcoming format. Even though if it's theoretically not dead, I don't know about like super heavy. Not as a pure deck, yeah. I mean, the thing is, the pure super heavy samurai deck also just like, now that you can't link off the Soul Piercer anymore, even if you wanted to play even if you wanted to play pure super heavy samurai, you only have 9 starters, which is not even that many. Like for a deck that's full on like combo oriented on that 1-card combo, it's like 9 starters isn't even that many. Do you think a hand trap monster that negates your opponent's negating card would be powerful, like a hand trap used for counter negate? I don't know what you mean. A hand trap that stops other cards from negating? Is that what you mean? That doesn't sound like a great card design. Did you try purely tier? I have not done that, no. Nine, 3 bike, 3 Bakaushi, but what's the other one? Oh, I thought wagon still works. But if wagon doesn't work, you only even have 6. That's even worse, yeah. Right, wagon... Does wagon not work anymore? I feel like it does. I think wagon just searches Vakaushi, no? Yeah, it does. Yeah, of course. Yeah, that's why it's still 9, yeah. Wagon only gets souls? Okay, then how does wagon... Wait, how do you do it with wagon? You search... oh no, you search Soul Peacemaker, and then you summon Scales, and then Scales gets back what? How do you do it? Oh, you make Gear Gigant. Okay, yeah, I see. Or you search Gaia or Peacemaker, and then you make Gear Gigant to search... Yeah, okay. See, yeah. It works differently than before, but it still works. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. But still, and like I said, 9 starters. While it might seem like 9 starters is a lot, basing your entire deck around seeing 1 out of 9 cards is not great. Plus, your ability to play through hand traps also just got completely shafted. Like, it's not even funny how much worse you are into hand traps. And you also lost Gamma, which, like, you know, isn't that just MathMech? Unironically, it's even worse than that, because MathMech even had, like, MathMech had 9 copies of Circular, but MathMech did have other ways to find Circular, right? Like, sometimes you could make a rank 4 to search Circular. There was other ways. There was other ways to play in MathMech. Some hands were kind of scuffed, but some hands just worked. And I don't know if, like, Super Heavy really has that. When, like, if you don't open Vakaushi, Wagon, or the bike, what the hell 2-card combo can you have? Like, except for maybe specifically Soul Piercemaker plus the... Wait, which is the one? Soul Piercer. Those 2 together. That probably works. But everything else is not really a combo, right? I feel like everything else wouldn't do anything. So, yeah. Would Metal Cruncher be considerable as starters? 10, 11, 12. I don't know. Like, yeah, I don't know. I'm not convinced by Super Heavy Samurai at all. I think, like I said earlier, one thing that I could see for Super Heavy Samurai is, like, playing it in other decks, just to have a couple more starter cards or cards that play through engine. Play through boards going second without using your engine. I don't know which deck really would like to do that. Like, the current top meta decks don't really want to do that. But, yeah, I don't know. JNC Collectibles put up a deck profile. Please watch it real quick. You'll see Super Heavy Samurai is still good enough. I doubt that I'll see that, but I'll watch it. Hold up. I doubt that's what I'll see, but give me a second.
What's going on, guys? It's Nick with JNC Collectibles, and we are with
Yugioh.
And what'd you do today?
I won a Switch at Unmatched Gaming's Nintendo Switch tournament up in Reading, PA, Chris Uranus store. Best locals in PA. And I played Super Heavy Samurai, and this is a new ban list, so this is no Scarecrow, Super Heavy. I got first place with that. I went 9-0.
Nice.
I didn't lose a single one of my matches in Swiss or Top Cut.
Nice, nice. Any shout outs before we get going?
Shout out JNC, obviously, our store. Shout out Joel. He's not here right now, but my testing partner I play with a lot. Shout out Cole, my sponsor. Got me some of the cards I need, other than like the common like cheap stuff that's easy to get. Shout out, like, we'll get into it when I get there. There's this one card like normal combo, even without Scarecrow, you can still end on like Barone, Appaloosa, Regulus. I don't always go for that. I go for a different combo if I can, but if this is all I open, if I get hand trapped enough, you still just end on like the regular interruptions. And it's still just really good. This is a creative card. Like, this is a custom card basically. This card's so stupid. 3 bike, also just a silly card. It gets you this.
Barfa using you as
3
clickbait
wagon,
in his latest
not
YouTube
the worst
video.
one
Wait, what?
anymore, because it's still like it combos on its own. You get Soul Gaia, make equip it special, make Gear Gig, search this. This is your whole deck, so you always want to get to that. Also, I don't know if people playing Ogre as much anymore because it's started a new format and its deck isn't as represented. Maybe it will be now. I'm not sure. I actually cut Ogre from my list, so I didn't play Ogre today. I didn't feel like.
Wait, what? When did I tweet that? Did I ever tweet that? Hold up. Okay, why would you not? I never tweeted that.
In what is perhaps the best ban list in many years, Konami has done something completely unprecedented.
Monstrous.
Scandalous.
Even
Demonic.
now, although to be fair, the bar for worst ban list possible is not very high. I'm talking about releasing a Forbidden Limit list on
Josh did in fact not say this. It turns out this was a defamation and disinformation campaign set out by the MathMech community. What the hell? Why would you? What is this?
A weekend, a Saturday at 5 p.m. Yes, in the middle of 2 national.
And why does the clickbait work? Hold up. Can someone explain why the clickbait even works?
Yes,
that's frustrating. Why am I watching it right now?
Mid-round. Anything to hurt content creators is A-okay in my book. Those guys are the stupidest people ever.
And by the way, according to this, it is not restricted to the original sources. So you don't even know this, but if you're a content creator watching this right now, you're now banned because Abyss Actor's coming in the next pack.
Oh, and by the way, subscribe to my second channel for more raw, unrefined highlights. Speaking of unrefined, I'm sorry about the mess in the back. I've just moved in. I'm lazy. Just stop. Just okay. And my Patreon shoutouts go to
DeBio, Joseph, Gordon, Faye, and Nicholas.
Without your patron support, this channel would not be able to function, mostly. Alright, boys.
Should I make a Patreon, by the way? Do people support over on Patreon? Is that something I should do?
Girls, it's that time of the year.
I've been thinking about
I took
that.
to the polls and I asked the brain dead
Thickelass. Thickelass is a pog name.
opinion. So I generally support human rights, but 75% of my followers out of 4,000 voters stated that they felt positive to very positive about this ban list. Over on YouTube, that number was about 5% higher, and 80% of 18,000 voters stated that they felt this new TCG list was positive to very positive as well. Now, an overwhelming majority of players seem to actually quite enjoy this list, and that's on both platforms, although 5% extra on YouTube, and I wonder why that is. Maybe you guys guys just hate Cyberstein more. Let's find out
Do
why.
I even show up in this video?
More. Cyframe Gear Gamma got limited, and let's be real, that card is absolutely toxic. Now, I legitimately feel like Chaos Ruler was inadvertently banned because of the interaction of Cyframe Gear Gamma going first. Because resolving
Brother,
Gamma going first...
This is just a ban list reaction. 2 weeks late. With me as clickbait. Oh my god, how far have we come? Yeah, just keep watching. No. I'm gonna watch this. Surely meta-relevant, super, totally playable, super heavy samurai deck after the new ban list.
3 of this one now, it's now the worst normal summon, because if you only have this, it doesn't do anything. The one time I bricked and top cut in a game 1, all I opened was this, and it took me a minute to register that, oh yeah, this isn't combo, Scarecrow's banned, so I just had to set it and pass. But it's still like, you still play 3 because it's still just really good with like any of the others, like it still searches your whole deck. If you're playing like any less, it just doesn't make sense. And then I upped this card to 3 because of the new list. It sucks to draw on its own, but if you draw like it with any of the others, you can combo, because you can still just make Gear Gigan. You can search it off of Wagon, but I also just wanted to maximize like opening this. Like say if I open this and this, like I can do stuff then. I can either link make the Ancient Gear link or just make Giga and search. I just wanted to always see it. It was good. I don't think I played it any less. I like opening it in my hand. I like being able to play, and I want to be able to play every turn 1. Because I think if you go kind of unhindered with this list turn 1, you're probably not losing because you end on a very, very good board that also just doesn't lose to Dark Ruler. So yeah, going forward, also play 3. 2 Benjamin Benki, standard. I'll get into something else too when I get like further in the list of like why I specifically chose super heavy to play like the combo that I was playing. But yeah, this card's standard. You don't want to draw like both of them because then you can't use Wakaushi. You want to be able to use Wakaushi. You need to play 2 of this because if you draw the 1, it's just you're sick. And then onto like the weird 1-ofs. And so, well, actually first I played two of this. I was thinking about playing 3 and I got the 3rd one last minute, but I was like honestly like I don't think I need 3. I didn't miss the 3rd at all today. It is another extender, so like if you play 3, like I think it's 2 and 3 is fine. I don't think there's any like there's not a huge argument for 2 or 3. 3 makes sense in some lists, but I didn't want to play it in this because I was already at 43 cards. I didn't want to play any more. And there's also like a lot of things I didn't really know to cut. But yeah, this card's still good. The 1 scales, card's still really good. Going first, going second, you just need this card. 1 stealthy. I thought about playing like multiples because like you can special for free and then like do this to it or do other things to it, but I don't think you need it at 3. And then these weird cards, this guy, kind of need it for the 1 card combo if you only draw Wakaushi because you search off Gearbox.
Isn't this just the same deck as before, but we play a whole bunch of Hopium extenders to make up for the combo potential we lose? So it's not a 1-card combo anymore, it's now like 2 to 3 cards?
There was a time too where I was under skill drain and I used this effect to draw 2 is to try and draw hand traps versus Labyrinth. It got Ash, but like it just didn't matter because I just killed them through skill drain. But this card is really good.
It's post
kind
list.
of need,
No, it's not
stuff.
pre-list, of course.
I'll get into when I actually get to like the Gearbox package, but he's part of the Gearbox package. He's just a super heavy.
But I would see why you would think that. It has to be an old ban list deck profile.
And then this card, I played this because of the combo that I'll get into in a bit. You have to play this because I'll just say it now, but because this plus look, it is just 1 card. They messed up unbanning this. So
oh nah!
This is the combo that I was trying to go for, and I'll get into it in a bit. But you have to play this because it's a 1 card Bengalong with Wakaushi. You just search off Big Benki, equip special Bengalong, cool Bengalong stuff. That's it for the super heavies, and then Gearbox, Tunneler, and then the other search target for Gearbox was the Coral. Yeah, I hate having to play this card because I hate playing like it just sucks to draw, and I'm already playing like 6 cards in the deck that you don't want to draw. You can get away with drawing some of these 6 cards. This is one of them. I guess technically this too, but like this isn't as bad to draw as this is.
6 cards you don't want to draw. Hey, that's POC. You have 9 cards you want to draw, 6 cards you don't want to draw, and like 25 cards you're indifferent about. That's kind of hype.
It's unfortunate that with the Scarecrow ban, you kind of have to play this because of the tilting entrainment thing, the into Ballista, into all that. You just kind of need to. It is good when it goes off when you don't get trolled. 1 Regulus. I cut it to 1. I was playing 2 for my YCS list. I wanted to play 3. I was playing 3 originally when I was testing, but I did keep bricking on it. But today, like, I ended up drawing this a lot today anyways and being able to just, like, equip the bike, so, like, it felt like it was at 3, but, like, hard opening this card always just feels so good. It just gives you such an extra, like, layer of protection when you're doing your combo. If I had room, I'd probably play 2 or 3 again. Room is so, like, space is so tight. Hand traps now, 3 Droll, 3 Ash, 3 Nib, that's it. I was playing Ogre, I cut it to make room.
Bro, 3 of those cards are good in the next format.
I didn't think I needed it. All these were good today. You kind of need this because cash is still real, and you really don't have a good going second without Scarecrow anymore. And you can't play board breakers, obviously, so you kind of have to play like high impact hand traps like this, and even Droll to an extent. This is just Respect branded. It's also just like not bad. If I were to change this for anything, it'd probably just be like Veil or something, but this did well today. I had no issues with Ash and Nib. Nib will probably always be my main deck for like a while now. But I was fine with 9 hand traps.
That's another issue I think of Super Heavy Samurai. is the non-engine you play is just like not that great in this format. Like Droll isn't great, Nib isn't great. Like you're basically your non-engine is 3 ashes. Congratulations.
I think I need it anymore. And then on to the weird combo cards that you need for like the Denglong thing. You need the One Zafranu. You don't need this specifically. I'm playing this. I mean,
the hell is that? Is that a virtual world?
I'm playing this specifically because I wanted a level 6 worm to dump off of Denglong to make it a level 6. So that when I normal summon Soul Piercer, I can just make Barone as a 5th summon and float off the Denglong. I just chose this because it was the only one that had, like, it was the only level 6 worm that had like a relevant grave effect. Like this can come up if you play Ogre, or if you like draw this, where you can like summon it from the grave and it becomes a tuner by discarding. It locks you into like the virtual world like level rank 3 higher things for the rest of the turn, which at that point doesn't really matter. You're probably gonna synchro. But this could realistically be like any level 6 worm. It just I'd rather have it because it actually has a great effect. So, like if it comes up, I'm not sick. It came up once like the other day.
So is that in the gearbox pretty much the 2 like hardcore bricks in the deck?
Yeah, the cards you really don't want to draw are like these, the gearbox, and technically Tunneler.
Okay.
But like Tunneler doesn't suck to draw. But like you don't want to draw these cards because they're all like searchable. Drawing this one isn't the end of the world because when you pendulum summon it, you can still search this. Drawing these isn't the end of the world. It's just they're free anyways. It's more so just drawing this one. That's a little annoying. And gearbox. But the combo is I didn't come up with this combo. I saw it, but I was like, oh, it's kind of cool. Where you just Wakaushi is a 1-card Denglong gets you these, and I was testing like the 3 Wakaushi, 3 Bike, 1 Big Benki, 1 Soulhorn engine, and like other decks, and I kept drawing Big Benki. So I was like, instead of just bricking on the Big Benki, why don't I just play the deck that plays Big Benki normally, that plays multiple Big Benki, which is super heavy. And the end combo is like if you open just Wakaushi, you do your normal super heavy like Barone, Regulus, Appaloosa. But if you open Wakaushi plus like Piercer plus like a way to get Piercer or normal summon, you end on the 2 counter traps, a Barone, a Regulus, and a Sargus. And then if you have more cards and more extenders, you end on more than that. You can end an Appaloosa as well. But off of just Wakaushi and Soul Piercer, you get the 2 counter traps, Barone, Regulus, and Sargus because that's how you search the Regulus. And I think that's really good. That's why I think if you like go first with this and you go unhindered, or even if you get like hand trap, like low impact hand traps, you're probably winning because these are beating Dark Ruler. And if they're in your grave after, who cares? Scales doesn't care about traps in your grave and spell traps in your grave. Neither does Big Benki. Neither does Soul Piercer. And you're probably killing them anyways. Like if these both resolve, then you still have like Barone and Regulus. Like your pendulum summon is just game pretty much at that point. And I did that because a lot of people are banning Dark Ruler. People were banning Dark Ruler at the event, at the Switch tournament. And I just think it's like good. There's also 4 free cards to take out going second. I took these out every time going second. There's no reason to keep them in. And when I did, 2 people made me start for some reason. In Switch, once in Swiss.
I love that argument, dude. I'm playing bad cards, chat. Playing bad cards is just a bonus because you can take him out when you go second. Have you ever thought about that? It's kind of nice. You should just play 3 Frog the Jams because they are free side outs when you go second. Have you ever thought about that?
Once in Top Cut, and I was like, that's crazy, but I mean, I guess it works. But I'll just combo normally now. And you have to play like the gearbox stuff because like this doesn't always work. You can't always do like a Denglong combo. Or if you get like stopped, you want to still like play normally. And there's a time where I had a Denglong.
I guess it's valid if people are on board breakers, your combo isn't getting hand trapped much. I'll say one thing: if people are on board breakers and you go first with this deck, you win. But if you go second with this deck, literally, I don't think this deck is like, it probably loses to an Edison deck when it goes second.
I attributed like Ballista to summon this, and then this, and the Denglong made Barone because 5 Denglong's a 5 if you don't send. And then the last cards I played in the main are the same stuff I played at the YCS. These in the Citadel, they're still really good. I won more games with them again in Top Cut. This card came in clutch against Cash because I had to nuke his board after I like nibbed him and I nibbed him on his turn. I played my turn, I got stopped. I set this. In his turn, he was about to make a push.
So instead of the deck, okay. The deck has gone from being a hyper consistent 40 card, 1-card combo machine with space for like 18 non-engine slots into 43 card, has like 9 1-card starters. The rest is just a bunch of a flop of bricks and extenders that has virtually no chance at going second. And you're trying to tell me that this is a real deck for the next format. Because it's not, dude. Combo piles like this have existed for ages and they've always been terrible. This is not a good deck. This is not a good deck.
So this just nukes the board. These cards are still good. I don't think these are mandatory. I just really, really like these cards. And
you lose the dice roll with this deck, you're not beating any deck in the format. You're not beating any deck in the format of the back of 3 Droll, 3 Ash, 3 Nib. You're just not doing it. It's not. No deck loses to that. No real deck loses to that.
The applications that they have are just...
I don't know what your dice roll win rate was at that tournament or how badly your opponent played into your deck. Like, this is not a real deck.
Really nice. It just gives you an extra layer.
I am sorry.
The one thing I did find out today, though, is when I was playing, if there was one time I opted to not summon a Regulus because I had all 3 of these and my Pendulum Scaler used up, So if I use the Regulus, I can't set all 3, I can only set 2. So that's the only like issue I found with it, is that sometimes if you're comboing off like too much, you just don't have the Spell and Trap space because of your scales. And you have to, like, in the combo, you have to Barone pop the Zephranu to get it in the extra for when you Pendulum Summon it. Because it only gets the effect when it's Pendulum Summoned or destroyed by battle card effect. And
it's first place though. I'm not saying that it can't win if it has a good day. Like, if it goes first, like, if I go second against this deck, I'm scared. Even though they probably still brick and it's fine. You know, 1 out of, like, if I lose the dice roll to this, they go first game 1 and game 3, they probably brick 1 out of the 2. I'll probably be okay. But yeah, like, literally, this concept of a deck, don't do it. Just don't do it. Like, Nib is not good in the next format, I don't think. Ash is okay, but it's not stopping anybody completely except for branded players. And Droll is also not great in the next format. Like, literally, this deck loses all the things that made Super Heavy Samurai good, and just instead you're playing a suboptimal combo pile. That's all. Like, literally, that's all. That's what you're doing.
Chill on your board for a bit. So you have to search this, you have to kill it or Pendulum Summon it. But that's it for the main deck. It worked out really well. I only bricked once, and it was game 1 of top 8, where I drew like a counter trap and the Tautoi, or Tautsu, however you pronounce it, but I didn't draw like a starter. I just drew Soul Piercer. If I drew a Kaushi, it was still like combo. I still had like a good hand, but only bricked once. Extra deck, play the one Geigen. You kind of have to now, just because you want to get to a Kaushi. So if you open like Wagon.
What non-engine would you recommend this format? See, we did that today. We recorded tier lists for hand traps and board breakers. So if you want to check that out, !YouTube, you already know, or you watch the VOD later, but or you wait for the YouTube videos. But we've talked about that today.
Is 1 card combo because you make this now. One booster still because
only bricked once. See, that's like already super above average, because like even if you 2-0 everybody in 9 rounds, that's 18 games. 1 out of 18 is not the rate at which this deck should be bricking, right? And it's more than 18 probably, because they probably didn't 2-0 everyone. So like at least 18 games you only bricked once. That's way above average. The chance that this deck bricks is like probably solid 20% or some shit. You know, it's like yeah, it literally should probably more brick like 1 out of 5 games or something.
It's still really good. Sargus package, also just really good. Free Regulus, free Big Zeus, standard. Links, I did put this back in because of the gearbox stuff. I don't like that I have to play it, but it was good today. It just sucks if you get trolled. And if you like this like combo and just the combo in general, can play through like Ash Veiler, Imperm, things like that, even if they have like 3 of them. You can play through the low impact hand traps pretty easily and put up a decent board. But if you get like nibbed or drolled at like the correct time, well, there's never a correct time to droll, it's just droll is droll. You can't put up a crazy board. So those are the only 2 hand traps.
Galzo posted a 1 card in the Deerlock.
Which is Barone 5, you don't get stopped by nib. They have to have another hand trap, and at that point, like that's still like fine. It's 2 cards. They have to use 2 cards to do it, and you still have follow up, and you solve your hand traps. And sometimes you can still play through it. But this does help you play through a lot of the hand traps. Especially with like when I get to some of the synchros, like the train stuff, you have to play things like that. Other Link 2, Genius, still really good. You just kind of have to play it. It's just too good enough.
Okay, I mean, it's just extra. Yeah, okay, fine.
How's it going, YouTube? Today,
still not. Oh no! Why am I subbed to Galzo? I unsubbed. It's fine. I'll stay.
Today, I'm going to be showing you how to turn Nadir Servant into a 1-card gimmick puppet lock. If you want 5% off,
hell no, I won't.
Any single or sealed product, head over to tierzerogames.com and use code GAL. Don't have anything good to add, and this is one of the best combos, so I really wanted to show you this combo and some other ways that you can use Maximus and Nadir Servant. And of course, before we begin, make sure to hit that thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel. As always, comment down below what do you guys think about this deck, and the list for this deck is coming. So before you comment where's the list, it's coming either tomorrow or in a few days. The video is already recorded, just need to upload it, and you're going to see everything else that is in this list. So let's start off our combo, and for that we're going to need our 1-card combo, which is Nadir Servant, right? Nadir Servant, if you don't know what it does, sends a monster from the extra deck to the graveyard, then you add a Fallen Valbaz or Dogmatica monster whose attack is equal or lower to the monster that you sent. So we're going to be activating Nadir Servant, and we're going to be sending Tri-Brigade Arms Bucephalus II. If you don't know what this card does,
I love Bucephalus. I have a Starlight Bucephalus.
The graveyard, you can send a Beast Warrior or Winged Beast monster from your extra deck to the graveyard. And we're going to do just that. But before that, we're going to be adding Dogmatica Maximus to the hand. And now, on resolution, Bucephalus II is going to trigger. Usually this card is used to send things like Garura to draw a card, but we're going to be sending the Glory Dragon, Brigand. This card, during the end phase, can get you a Tri-Brigade monster or summon a Fallen of Albaz. So we're going to be sending that off of Bucephalus. So now Maximus can banish the Bucephalus second from the graveyard to summon itself. It's not an activated effect. You can just banish it. Now, on the field, you can activate this effect. Each player sends 2 cards from their extra deck to the graveyard. That's it. If you're in the mirror, it becomes a little bit complicated, right? But again, this line can be used to recover from getting ashed on Branded Fusion, and I think it's really cool. And we're going to be sending Albion, the Branded Dragon, and we're going to be sending Lulu Lilith. Then this is pretty much all we need to do outside of our end phase. And again, you know, you can have, this is a 1-card combo, so you can have 4 or 6 cards, or 4 or 5 cards in hand besides Nadir Servant. So again, it just offers a lot of recovery from Ash Blossom. So during the end phase, we're going to be activating a few effects. First of all, we have Brigand, the Glory Dragon, that's going to summon Fallen of Albaz to the field. Then we're going to be getting Lulu's effect, who's going to be summoning Cartesia to our side of the field. So now we already got 2 monsters off of our Dogmatica Maximus, which is really, really cool. And then, of course, Albion is going to trigger, and we're going to be getting Branded in red to set to our field. Now, during our opponent's turn, we can activate the effect of Blazing Cartesia the Virtuous, fusing it with Fallen of Albaz, sending both of them to the graveyard. Then we're going to be summoning Granguignol the Dusk Dragon. Now, of course, you know what this card does, and it will dump from our deck the Gimmick Puppet Nightmare. And this could be literally any card. I think Invader of Darkness and Jinzo are going to be really strong this format. So, again, this is really, really good. You can send any card that you want because you're going to be summoning it right now. Now we're going to be flipping up the Branded Red, targeting our Fallen of Albaz, and we're going to be using it. And you can use here, since both of them are light spellcasters, you don't have to use a Granguignol. You can just use the Dogmatica Maximus here to summon the Albion, the Sanctifier Dragon. Then we're going to be activating its effect. We're going to be targeting Cartesia and Gimmick Puppet, and we're going to give our opponent the Gimmick Puppet. Have fun, dude. And yeah, this is pretty much how you do it. I think this is a few things. There's a few things going on here. When I came up with this combo, I thought,
so if we're recovering from Ash on Branded Fusion, why are we not just playing Crossout instead? Why are we playing basically a 10-step Crossout designator that requires like 3 extra deck slots that we normally don't play? I'm just asking questions. Because last format we propagated Nadir Servant as like a cool way to play around Ash on Branded Fusion, you know, give us more lines, give us better plays and whatnot. And then at the end of the day, we didn't end up playing that ever. We just always played Crossout instead for Ash Blossom. Why is that? Why is that? I don't know. I think it's, once again, you guys know my opinion on the Gimmick Puppet lock. I think Branded doesn't need that to win. I think the Branded board is freaking pog if you don't go for the Gimmick Puppet. I think you just win. I think this line is interesting if you already play Crossout to out Ash and you want more ways to deal with Ash, then maybe I can see this being a thing. I don't think that that's going to be a thing. I don't like having to put that stuff into my extra deck. I think the extra deck for Branded is already super tight. I don't know. I kind of feel like we're trying to innovate in a place that doesn't really call for innovation. Which is like, you're trying to make a Branded deck do what it's not supposed to do. Branded is not supposed to win through Ash. I think you're making your deck, at some point, you're making your deck actively worse by trying to make it do something that it simply isn't supposed to do, right? I think that's the gist of it. Or you could call it overcooking. You could also just simplify it in Twitch chat terms and say like, yeah, we're overcooking. Yeah, maybe that's that. I don't know about this. I don't know if this is. It's cute. It's cute. In theory, it looks cool, but I think in practice, you're gonna end up being better off with a different Branded version. Simple as that. Scream, thank you for the 5 months. Welcome back. Appreciate you. One last thing before we hop off. I almost forgot to say, but Sleeve Chief had a restock this Sunday. I don't even know if they still have stuff left, but some of it is sold out. Some of it is still here. Oh yeah, the Signer Dragon sleeves are still here. You can go !sleeves and use Josh5 to get 5% off and support the channel, yada yada, you know the stuff. Some of the stuff is still left of the cool OCG sleeves. So make sure to check that out. With that being said, that is all the content I had prepared for today. We have some nice streams planned for the next couple days. Also, we're gonna do a what's it called? A Deck Doctor stream next week before German Nationals. So stay tuned for that. I'm gonna be opening submissions for that in the Discord. In the upcoming days. Anyways, I'll send you guys over to MBT. Thank you guys so much for watching. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Hope you enjoyed watching the stream. Hope you have a great rest of your day. Say hello to MBT. I think he just started, so you're going there at a very good time. Thank you for watching. Thank you for all the support as always. And I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye. Peace.